better. All of you critics be acting like you know better. Blowing the smoke, but I know when the dust settles. Said I'm in my element, it's evident that there's levels to the game. All of those dark nights I got them. Taking my business and making it out, got me feeling like rain. I ain't never need your help, I know you wishing me well. A penny for your thoughts, but seeing no change. I snap for the sun like Diddy. The riches got him mad at son, I'm like Billy. I ain't never switch up, whole team with me. Putting on for my city like OAGZ. Set the pace as long as you finish. Consumers find a way inside your business. Babble if they try to dabble in it, and they hate the fact that they may have to witness. You try to aim for the top like this, and you're in your element with a fire like this. And they hoping you fall and they praying you miss, but it's all in the risk. I got you with the switch, you know. I'm in the zone. Give me the throne. One shot, that's all that you got. That's all that I know. Foot on the gas. 155 on the road. You could be a friend of me, an enemy. Keep that same energy. I'm in my element. Yeah. I'm in my element. I'm in my element. Yeah. I'm in my element. Yeah. I'm in my element. Yeah. Keep that same energy. I'm in my element. Yeah. I'm in my element. Flow is like water. I'm forced through the fire. I'm feeling like gold. Gotta stay grounded, stay down to earth. Following God and you grinding. You do as you told. I don't work to make you like me, but I'm front and center. Word to Spike Lee. And God came in the nick of time. They think I'm crazy, well I might be. Let's run it up. In the eyes, this is sum it up. You know it's a rap, never waistlines, and I'm cutting the weight like a tummy tuck. That mean I'm about to give it out right now. You see what's coming down the line, I never pipe down. I give 100% and be trying to stun on my enemies. In my element is crazy, it's the mic sign. I'm in the zone. Give me the throne. One shot, that's all that you got. That's all that I know. Foot on the gas. 155 on the road. You could be a friend of me, an enemy. Keep that same old energy, cause I know I'm in my element. Ooh, yeah. I'm in my element. Ooh, yeah. I'm in my element. I'm in my element. Ooh, yeah. I'm in my element. Ooh, yeah. I'm in my element. Ooh, yeah. Keep that same energy. I'm in my element. Never switch up. 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 Keep that same energy. Never switch up. I'm in my element.
Yeah. Welcome to the show. I'm in my element. I'm in my element. Keep that same energy. I'm in my element. Never switch up. Never switch up. Never switch up. Yeah. Salute ATP. What it do? What up, though? Shout out to everybody in the building, man. Oh, we got a lot. You see, my bad on the thumbnail. No creativity in the thumbnail today. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I just put it up there and I put it up there what it is, man. It's boxing talk, baby. At this point, that gotta be good enough. You know what's gonna happen when you come up on the show. You know what we're here to do. I don't need to constantly keep putting fighters on the posters and trying to listen, man. I think we got a brand at this point. I think the community is building a brand at this point, and I just think if I put the flag up, y'all know what time it is. It's the bat sign. Everybody needs to pull in. Everybody just needs to pull in. It's time to build. Great weekend of boxing. This is our Sunday, Monday, Fun Day, Tuesday show. We cover everything that happened in the weekend, which was a very impactful weekend. Clearly, we got to talk to the elephant in the room, the Fabio Wardley, Daniel Dubois, heavyweight fight of the year candidate. I mean, we got to talk about it all. We got to talk about Zuffa 6. Shout out to Shane Mosley Jr. Ayo, shout out to Jalil Hackett, who I think called it very well. He read that energy. He read the energy of Serhiy Bohachuk, was very accurate with the idea of who Serhiy Bohachuk was before when he was in the ring with Virgil Ortiz, right? When he was in there with Keyshawn Davis and all those guys. And, you know, when he fought Brian Mendoza and won that interim WBC 154 title, and, you know, all these different scenarios that Serhiy Bohachuk's been into where the space has gave him accolades. It looked at him as one of the top guys. This guy was in the conversation with Virgil, fighting Israel Madrimov, maybe fighting a Jaron Boots Ennis when he came into 154, fighting all these guys, right? And so that makes it even more impactful what happened with Shane Mosley Jr. this weekend. We'll talk about that as well. It still is fight week, another big fight weekend coming up. It's big for me. Anytime I see Keyshawn Davis getting ready to get on the card, he's must-see boxing. Definitely one of my favorite up-and-coming fighters in the game right now. I'm very intrigued to see what he's going to continue doing. He faces off with Nahir Albright this weekend. fight that a lot of people has been split down the middle. Some people feel like, hey, man, let's get that done. You know, there was smoke there. Why not, Keyshawn? Why shouldn't Keyshawn go ahead and finish that up with Nahir Albright? We know about the backroom politics and the brawl that happened in Virginia when he missed weight and didn't fight De Los Santos. We know about him beating his older brother, Kelvin Davis. We know there's a storyline there. I myself am one of those people who are more than okay with the fight, but obviously you got people who feel like he should be fighting better competition. It is what it is. Nahir Albright also coming off of a great performance against well-to-do Frank Martin and hurt Frank Martin. Most people, including myself, I thought he beat Frank Martin in that fight. So I think this fight is going to hold a lot of weight. We'll talk about that as well. And then we got cool things to talk about, right? We got Terence Crawford crashing out a little bit. That's my guy, Bud. You know what I mean? Hey, bro, Bud gonna crash out every now and then. It be like that. When you out here being great, when you out here in your element, all in your element, and people trying to pull you back and paint pictures and stories about what happened with certain fighters. And, you know, they want Bud to fight everybody, and anybody who they ain't fight, they put it on Bud's shoulders as to why he ain't fought them. And I think I'm split a little bit. Not really. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not split. But listen, I can resonate with somebody who will acknowledge the fact that Terence Bud Crawford, towards the end of his career, was probably having a lot more freedom to control who he fought more than the earlier half of his career. And I say that because we know there was fights he wanted that he couldn't get, right? Because it takes two to make a thing go right. It is what it is. But yeah, I would say with the Boots situation, it was a bigger fish to fry. And you're not calling me out in particular. You're calling out for an opportunity. You're calling out for titles and unifications, and that's great. You're doing what fighters are supposed to do, but you wasn't calling me out. You wasn't saying, Bud, bring your ass over here, boy. You know you scared of me and I'm gonna knock you out, shit. You weren't talking that shit. And I think Bud is just holding Boots accountable a little bit, just upset and just saying, listen, your fans are great. They're your fans, but, you know, they don't know the truth. The truth of the matter is there's levels to this game, right? There's levels to this game. That's the truth to the matter. And the people around you, even if you don't think so, even if you agree to stay silent, if you agree to let somebody else steer your career, that's fair. But the people around you, at a minimum, wanted to move you the right way. Okay? They wanted to move you the right way. Let's just leave it at that. Let's not do this. But if it was something else, if it was me, the way it was Canelo for me, the way it was Errol for me, you saw how I moved when I wanted those fights. You saw what I did. You saw how I played my cards. You saw how I got rough and tough out there. How I was screaming for my opportunities, kicking down these doors, getting rid of these promoters, being defiant, being a pain in the ass. That's what it looked like when you in the front seat of your own career. But you chose, and you still choose at points, to allow your handlers to do their jobs. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that all the way, right? Like, okay, you're letting your handlers do their jobs, but there's a difference between what you're doing and what I was doing. When I wanted to fight, I was focused and I was looking at that fight like that's all I wanted. I was calling people out, meeting them at fights, meeting them in the lobbies. You know what I mean? Pressing them, you know what I'm saying? Going to find the money. When they said there was no money, I went and found the money. They said Canelo had no reason to fight me. I found Canelo a reason to fight me. That's how you make a fight happen. You're not on that energy. Once again, nothing wrong with that. But there's a difference. It is what it is. We'll talk about that a little bit. Roy Jones out here, man, literally had to talk to one of my friends earlier today. He used to be on the channel all the time. He doesn't come as much anymore, and I know it's probably more so towards his work schedule and things of that nature. Well, it's one of my Akis out here, bro, and he reposted this video by Roy Jones. And guys, I want you guys to understand, Roy Jones is my guy. Okay, my favorite, not my guy, like we're not friends or nothing, but he's my favorite boxer. Like I'm just telling my wife the other day how I need to get a Roy Jones picture up here more than Mike Tyson, more than his Mike Tyson picture. Roy Jones is really my favorite fighter. He's the guy who made me passionate about the sport. Anything before that was family who was watching boxing when I grew up, right? And I was just kind of watching by default because, you know, my uncles and, you know, all the men in my family watch boxing a lot. So, but, you know, I didn't get my own love for boxing by myself to where it didn't need to be then when I was watching boxing by myself until Roy Jones showed up. That's when I became a big, passionate boxing fan. So I really am a fan, and I'm not embarrassed to say at times idolized Roy Jones Jr. He was just everything he did was so cool. He was just a trailblazer. You know what I'm saying? So when I watched Roy Jones doing his thing on these interviews the other day, I ain't gonna lie to you, I'm gonna keep it real. I was a little upset. Man. I ain't gonna lie. I just felt like my guy was not well informed, and he sounded like an echo chamber of content creators and Oscar De La Hoya. It seemed like, from my seat watching, it seems like you could do better. If you wanted real information so that you could be a conduit and steer the traffic and really be an informative, credible source of information for the space as far as what Zuffa is, what Zuffa's doing. And I'm saying even the bad things, right? Because Zuffa got things that's going on that I think there's legitimate arguments for. I don't know about this part. I don't know about that part. You have access to that kind of information. You're in the industry. Your podcast co-host, his name is Andre Ward. He's literally a content creator. Excuse me. He is a content creator, but he's literally a commentary guy on the Zuffa shows. So I know you have access to the information, and I just felt like what I saw my guy doing was just kind of I just didn't know what to make of it. I really just looked at it like, I don't know what you're saying, bro. I think you're upset more than anything. Roy Jones is upset more than anything, and I don't know why he's upset, because it sounds personal. It sounds like something happened with the company, and he's on a mission to speak rather than really care. Because I think if you're really talking on behalf of the fighters, what fighter have you spoken to that has given you the belief of what you're saying? And you keep on bringing up the UFC, you keep on bringing these things up, but I never heard you be that passionate about it before. And all of a sudden, it's like he's on this campaign. It's kind of weird, right? All of a sudden, campaign, it's kind of weird. I ain't gonna lie, it kind of broke my heart, bro. It broke my heart a little bit. And listen, you guys know I support Zuffa, what they're doing, but I'm not, contrary to popular belief, and I know people, call me Zoo, I'm not all into Zuffa to that point. You know what I mean? In all honesty, all of the jackets I've gotten about Zuffa boxing probably come from my co-host, you know what I'm saying, Angela Reyes, more than anything, right? Because we talk about Zuffa a lot, clearly, right? But I always say I cover so much the zone. I cover boxing on a broad level. Even, in my intro today, we talked about mostly the zone action, right? We brought up, obviously, what Shane Mosley did, but we cover all boxing here. But I don't mind the jacket, right? I don't mind it. So contrary to popular belief, that's not what we're out here doing. But at the same time, it's like I have a hard time wrapping my mind around hating on other fighters' opportunity. Like, even if it's not an opportunity for you as a fighter or whatever it is that you do, I don't understand how you're hating on other fighters' opportunity to make something out of their career, and you saying you're for the fighters. I think there's a thin line between love and hate when it comes to that situation. I don't know, right? I don't have all the answers, but watching Roy do it, we'll talk about that. We'll play a little bit of the video as well, courtesy of Fight Hype. We'll play some of the interview a little bit and just kind of speak to what he's saying. Just let's, break it down just a little bit, just to see where the truth is. I think he's far from the truth. I think he's far from the facts. He sounds like an echo chamber. You know what I mean? I remember I kind of got in this conversation, not this one, but a conversation similar to this over Victor Conti with Shane Mosley Sr. And, it got kind of awkward because it was just like, where'd you get that from? Where'd you hear that from? Can you direct me? Are you sure? And, he turns out, shout out to him. He was humble enough to be like, hey, maybe I ain't gonna lie. Maybe I don't know all the facts, bro. I'm just going off the character of the guy. And I was like, oh, okay. All right. Because you guys have powerful voices, man. You know what I'm saying? Roy Jones Jr., the Shane Mosleys, even Oscar De La Hoya's clapback Thursday ass. You know what I'm saying? Powerful voices. And I think you owe it to the boxing space and the fans to be accurate with information and be credible, right? Don't be the guy who doesn't need facts but can speak. We all do it at times, but not everybody as is impactful as everybody. Not everybody's words hold as much weight as other people's words, right? Just being honest. It is what it is. We'll talk about a lot of that stuff. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. Let me see here. SOB TV, salute to you. Says salute Claymore. Blessings, brother. Blessings to you, fam. No problem in the building. Says Zoo. What's on, Mr. Claymore Reigns? What's on? What's good? No, see, I'm telling you, Zoo. They call me Zoo, man. I ain't even mad, bro. No problem. Says I hope Angela is on so I can tell him I was wrong on Morrell. Angela was right about Morrell. Need to keep Whitaker's name out of his mouth. Yeah, for sure, bro. That was right on the nail with that shit, bro. David Morrell. Hey, David. Hey, man, you got work to do, but I can't defend that shit. I can't defend that shit. We're going to talk about it, man. Shout out to my brother Akeem Blake in the building. Says, peace to the gods and earth clay. What up, guidance and blessings? What up, man? What up, Reyes? You were right. Okay, he's going to come up and tell Reyes will be up here in a second, and we can tell him. So he can respond to it and everything. Shout out my brother Ray Davis in the building. Kalia World in the building says, do y'all think Daniel's a legend? No, I don't know. I don't know about that. Why? Nope. I think he's one of the greatest UK heavyweights. We'll talk about that. We'll come back to that, Cleo. Is he one of the greatest UK heavyweights? I'll be honest with you. Maybe. I never thought about it, so I don't want to just answer off the hip. But yeah, hey. At first, I'm like, nah. But I'm like, well, you know what? Wait a second. Let me bring it back. Wait. Yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it, Khalil. Good question, Khalil. We'll talk about it, man. We'll let the panel get at it. I'll throw the meat into the water and let the piranhas get at it and see what they think about it. SOB TV says, nah, Claymore, you got to go back to the normal intro song. This ain't the one, guy. Respectfully. Okay. Listen, shout out to the community, man. Let me know. Hey, no problem, bro. Guess I'm gonna let you know right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, no problem. Saying we here. It's right here. Hey.
Who knew I would make it this far? They hated.
Yeah, we'll bring it back. Shout out to you, SOB TV. No problem, bro. Hey, man, shout out to the community. That's what it's all about, bro. You guys let me know. You let me know. We're experimenting. We're having a good time. You let me know. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to, be sporadic. You know what I mean? Keep the romance hot. You know what I mean? Pause. I don't want to be romantic with you, SOB. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying for the channel. Let's keep it moving before it gets awkward. NY Bullet, New York Bullet in the building. Shout out to NY Bullet in the building. Salute. Agent 0777 in the building. What up, Clay? Sam from Jersey. My God said, I swear I love this channel. We love you too, boy. Shout out to everybody. Jack that from me with I love you, boy shit. But nah, man, I appreciate the love and I appreciate what the channel is building, man, which is a home for people who love boxing, who love boxing talk. There's a home being made here. I know I look forward to the Tuesdays and Thursdays at 2:45 and the lives on Saturday. That's y'all my people. That's what I like to be at. You know what I mean? I get excited knowing that me and my people's gonna meet. The wife of what you about to do? Me and my people's about to link up. You know how we do. About to open the doors up at the club. You know what I mean? Open the bar up, wipe down the counters. You know what I'm saying? I'm expecting a packed house tonight. I got my people coming through. She smiled at me like, you're doing too much. I'm like, I know. That's my people's. You know what I mean? We built this from the ground up together. You know what I'm saying? Together. Angel Zero says thumbnail good as good as it is. Thank you, brother. Easy Blends in the building. Salute to you. Easy Blends 1231 says hit the like, y'all, for sure. Hit the like and subscribe to the channel. If you haven't done so yet, do that, man. My guy Sean Leslie in the building said, what's up, Claymore? Hung out with you on the MMA stream Saturday. Figured I'd come learn a little bit about the boxing world. Hey, bro, that's what it's all about, man. Let's cross politic. Let's cross promote, right? Let's bring MMA fans into the boxing world, and let's bring boxing fans into the MMA world, because at the end of the day, it's combat sports, bro. And I believe you guys, if you like combat sports, then you like combat sports. And I'll leave it at that, right? If you like combat sports, then you might not know it. You're not familiar. I know how that feels to not be familiar with something. But I think at the end of the day, shit, I even find something in the damn slap content. I don't watch the slap show, but when I do turn on, if I turn on for a second and if I catch one round of slapping, I'm probably going to stay around for the rest of the slapping. For that one round, I'm saying for that slap. Like, I'm not going to watch the whole show, but once I see you get the shit slapped out of you, I definitely need to see you slap the shit back out of somebody, right? I can't just watch you get slapped. If I see somebody slap the shit out you, I don't know how you guys are. I'm going to hang around and see if you slap him back. I'm not walking away and be like, this is stupid. It is stupid, but I'm going to see you slap this motherfucker back, bro. That's what's going to happen. When I tell the story, it's going to be about how you either slapped him back or you didn't. Ain't nobody, and I think you're going to, listen, if you, bear with me here, because it's going to be a little off the rail a little bit here, but listen. If you come up to me and tell me you've seen somebody get slapped, my first question to you is going to be, and then what happened? You heard? And if you don't got the answer for me, I'm low-key not your friend for a little bit, for like 30 minutes. I low-key don't like you in that moment. I'm kind of upset that you would watch somebody get slapped and not wait to see what happened afterwards. I'm just being honest with you. I might not say it to you. I might not tell you I'm mad at you, but don't be shocked if it don't get a little awkward for a little bit. And it's because I'm not saying it, but in my heart, I'm a little frustrated with you right now. I don't even think you should have came up to me and told me somebody got slapped if you didn't have it in you to stay and watch what happened afterwards. You know? Like, don't even tell me the story, bro. Anyway, that being said, Miss Van Hotter in the building. Salute, Miss Van Hotter. What's good? What's good? What's good with you, queen? Hey, yo, son. Amen. Amen. Hey, yo, Mozzie a problem, bro. If they got to get him some real food, we'll talk about him. They got to get him some real food, bro. That was too easy for him. I mean, that had to be like a tease to Mozzie. He heard him early. He hit that boy with that left hook to the body, and that boy said, oh, hell no, this young boy about to do me dirty. This young boy about to do me dirty up in here, bro. Ain't nobody got no time for this. Ref! Nobody got no time to be getting punched on like this. Give me my check. I'm out. I don't even want to fight no more, bro. I'm retiring. I don't even want to fight no more. Nikki, what's this? Nick and the Man? Nick and the Man? Nick and the Man. Is this one of those names that's going to get me saying some shit I don't want to say? Anyway, salute to you. Salute to you. Nicky Man says, I'm good with the Albright fight. 100%, man. Right there. Dragonfly Jones in the building says, tapping in with the chat. Salute to the Rain Man. Salute to you. Z Pacino in the building. Salute, salute, salute to Alan Land. One said, what's good, Clay? Larry Home was mine for sure, man. Joseph Jackson in the building. What's good, King? What's good with you, boy? What's good? What's good? What's good? Let me see here. Salon Bobo in the building. Salute to you. NA5 ETH in the building says Roy's taking plenty money from the Saudis to help get to this point, so it's a bit hypocritical. Yeah, they all been there, right? I think that may be one of the biggest things I hold against Oscar De La Hoya, right? Maybe one of the biggest things that, if it ever seems like I just have something against him because I don't have no personal relationship with him, it's not personal, but it is kind of a little bit difficult with the hypocrisy, right? To have a night for the Mexicans in Riyadh season and have that collaboration with Riyadh as strong as you was, to be the guy who sold Ring Magazine, you know what I'm saying? And then to be on these Clapback Thursdays talk, I just find the hypocrisy at the highest level of hypocrisy, right? Shout out to Two Tone. The mustiness is at the highest level of mustiness. Respectfully, you know what I mean? Respectfully. Ryan from the 6 in the building. Salute, salute, salute. Ryan, what's good with you, family? What's good? It's me, Rock Lee. What's good? Says make a Zuffa song using AI. I'm telling you, I ain't trying to do all that, bro. You guys, I mean, it is what it is, man. Shout out to Round 1 in the building, man. Oh, man, who else? Let me see. I want to hurry up and get through this. I want to give everybody some love, man, because you guys are always here to support, and I want to acknowledge you guys. Joe Uso in the building, man, said, what's good, Clay? What's good, Us? What's good, Us? I'm learning. I don't got to say Uso. I could just say Us. You know what I'm saying? I know how I'm learning how y'all speak. You know what I mean? I'm like, what up, Us? No doubt, Us. I like Us. That's kind of like, you know what I mean? That's like, you know what I mean? Us. That shit kind of flow now. You know what I mean? Shout out to Us, man. I'm about to bring my Uses up on the panel in a minute. My Uses. You know what I'm saying? Angry White Man Boxing in the building. What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? That Hacksaw Jim Duggan, back boxing fan, 1254 1254 says, hi, have you ever seen David Haye fight? Of course. But of course, sir. Don't be uncivilized. Don't be ridiculous, sir. What do you mean if I've seen David Haye fight? Have a seat, relax, get you a drink, enjoy the show, man. Subscribe to the channel, hit the like button. It's about that time. Let's bring up the usual suspects in the building. Hold on. Walan selector. Walan. Wildline selector. Bring him up here. Hold on. Wait. It's too much. What's here? Oh, I had that? Hold on. Let me see what this is. That's not better than this one. Hello to the panel. What up, Oos? What's good, Oos? Let's double it up one more time. Just one more time. What's good, Oos? Come on, I'm gonna get better at it so it sounds more natural. What's good, Oos? What's up, Angelo? What's up, Ray? What up, Ooses?
What's up, Oos?
Like, is that is Oos a singular thing where I gotta
specifically
call you, or can I
think
say Oos?
Oos may be singular?
It's just Oos, right? That's what it is, right? Uso, there's no plural Uso, right? Usos.
Yeah. that would be the plural version, Usos, right?
Right. I mean, but I'm gonna have some Usos in the room, be like, bro, dog, stop fucking up our word, bro. It's just Uso. You can say Us, but you doing too much. That's what's wrong with people today. We let y'all in, and y'all try to take our shit and do with it what the hell you feel like doing it. And that's not how we say it. Just be patient and call each of them an Us. Please, sir. If you can't say it, don't say it right. Just don't say it at all. What's good with you?
What's going on?
No football hat for you yet, Ray Davis? Come on, man. The Steelers are doing great, bro.
You said the app?
You're rocking with baseball hats right now.
Oh, the hats. I thought you said app. I was going, I got a couple of hats. He got
all the hats. Ray Davis is a hat guy, bro. He goes crazy. Right. He don't barely wear a hat 2 times in the same week. Like, he's every single day.
That is true. That is very true.
All right.
Only one I wear is my kid's baseball hat. I got to put on twice a week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, what I was gonna say is the chat's been on fire, so we want to thank you guys. I see you, Sean. Thanks for joining us for the boxing portion. I know you're an MMA guy, but yeah, we did that. Ray, did you happen to catch me and Clay doing the first ATP UFC?
Listen, let me tell you, I was trying to find the fight first before I joined in because I don't want to go in and not know what's going on and just be listening. I mean, some people do that, but I'm like a visual person. You know, some people like to read, or some people, can listen. I'm a visual person. I like to see what's going on. At the same time, I think I was called to by Frequent to come over there during that time as well. But no, I did not catch it. But I did watch them. Yeah, I did want to watch it.
All right.
You know what I want to just put in there about MMA, what I love about MMA and what I love about the fight game is building the relationship up with the sport, right? It's one thing, when I first started watching MMA, the fun was figuring it out, learning, seeing, reading. I'm that kind of a person, right? Like, I'm not the type of person who's easy to teach. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, hands-on, you can teach me. I'm saying I've rolled, I've done jiu-jitsu, I've been in the gym and done a lot, to be honest with you, in the MMA gym, more than I've done in a boxing gym. But as far as watching a show, I like to just watch it. So yeah, I am the kind of person that'll pop up and watch the show with you. And I'll comment on what I see. Oh, that was a crazy right hand. Oh man, you know what I mean? But I'm learning. By the 5th to 10th event, somewhere in that window between 5 and the 10, I start to acclimate and become knowledgeable about what I'm seeing. I'm starting to see the setups. I'm seeing repetitive, right? You know what I'm trying to say, Ray? Like, right. Oh, he's pinning that right arm down. I'm remembering the last 2-3 times I saw somebody pin the arm, and I'm like, oh, maybe he's gonna do this. And then if he doesn't, flip it into a Kimura, and you know what I'm saying, he pins it down and goes for an arm triangle, or he's pinning it down just so he can transition in a certain way to secure. So I'm learning on the go, and that's fun. That's fun. So yeah, I guess I'm saying all of that to say, you bro, pop up on the damn show and watch the fight.
Yeah, man. Listen, don't get it twisted. I used to be a big MMA guy, man. I used to be a big MMA guy. I just like it's just that golden era. I would say the golden era. I'm pretty sure, respectfully, you guys understand.
100%.
You know what I mean? It just changed when it started going away. All the Rashad Evans and the Spider Silvers and all that shit went away. Yeah, I still watch some of the guys, but you're talking about guys that's been 20 years in the league still fighting, and we're cheering them on. Like what's the dude that's the heavyweight champion right now?
Heavyweight champion right now.
He dropped the belt. You
talking about John Jones?
John Jones, right?
Yeah, I forget what you're talking about.
But yeah, thank you. But it's just like, damn, this dude 20 years in the game, bro. he come when he want and leave when he want type shit. So
I mean, yeah, I think it's a relationship. It's just like WWE for me, right? Like my brother is all into that. I got family who loves it, man, who watches, they so into it. I'm not there no more. So there's no story for me. There's no story. I don't know why the hell this guy hit that guy with a chair. I have no idea why he's talking on a mic right now. I have no idea. It's not that the golden era is gone. It's our era is gone, right? In order for us to get back into it, we got to start from the ground up again and build our own
absolutely.
These characters.
And I know Pereira and these guys, so it's not like I'm oblivious to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's all good. Go ahead.
I just want to say, I'm just reading the chat. You know, you guys are awesome. Yeah, Sam from Jersey. I appreciate that, man. I'm glad you like those fighters. I appreciate that, Sam. Yeah, Ray, I'm glad you brought up John Jones because I'll make it quick about this. So there's only 2 people in the history of the UFC that's ever defended the title at the age of 24. One of them is John Jones, and the other one is Joshua Van. And that's who me and Clay were calling on
Saturday, that was a big one.
That
one I had to go to the bathroom. And I missed like a good like round and a half. But
you got to call the beginning and the end though. So
right, that's what I'm saying. You know. I went to the bathroom.
You got to call the knockout. You got to call the knockout.
For sure.
But Joshua Van is he's a superstar, bro.
Joshua Van. I gotta go look at that. That's my cousin's name.
Even me, I'm not familiar with him, bro.
Hold on, that's my cousin's name. Hold on, let me go find out. It ain't
him. It's a little ass Vietnamese nigga.
Okay.
Now,
you never know, Clay. You never know, Clay.
I'm just saying, I'm just describing him visually for Ray to let him know that there's absolutely no. You know what I'm saying? I don't know exactly what he is, but when you see him, you don't see Ray Davis. Or
it's okay. It's okay. I got you. I'm just saying. When you say the name, I'm like, hold on, what? Hold on.
Unless you got some Asian in you, Ray. I'm not sure.
Pause, bro. No, I do not have any Asian in me. And that doesn't mean I don't have any.
Pause. No, pause. The way you said that right there, definitely pause.
Yeah, I might be some cultural. I might have some cultural influence.
100% no pause. 100% pause. There has to be a pause.
I'm pretty sure there's some descendant in my gene pool. I did find out that I had some what is it? Starts with Malaysia. Is it Malaysia?
Okay.
South of China. Is that it? South of China by Thailand?
Yes.
Yeah. There's some Malaysian in my bloodstream, but that's about it, bro.
All right.
Wait. So let's bring it full circle a little bit. Let's get to it a little bit, right?
Yes, sir.
We got boxing to talk about, gentlemen, for sure. We got boxing to happen this weekend. We're gonna try to get in there as much as we can. You know what I'm saying? And whatever we miss out on, we miss out on. But I want to start with the big dogs, man. The big elephant in the room. Fabio Wardley, Daniel Dubois. Gentlemen, it is what it is. We were going into the fight. We all had our predisposition mindsets as far as what we thought it was going to be. No, you know what? Matter of fact, let's slow down. Let's not go down. Let's hit Zuffa real quick because I don't know how long we're going to be in Zuffa.
You don't want to, because I kind of want to be extended on Zuffa. We can wait for Zuffa.
No, I don't want to sit here and overextend on Zuffa because there's so much stuff to talk about, bro. And I don't think I know the people in the building want to talk about certain things going on in space right now. I want to talk about the Shane Mosley, Serhii Barchuk fight. I want to talk about Julian Rodriguez, you know what I'm saying, in his fight against James Perella. I want to talk about Demazian Van Houter, you know what I'm saying, and how he just needs to get fed. Feed me Seymour, bro. You know what I'm saying? He the plant. He the monster right now at Zuffa. Yes, please. He's a monster right now that needs to be fed, man. He needs to be fed. I want to talk about that a little bit. Then I want to creep into Daniel, man, because that shit right there. Anyway. So listen, Demazian Van Houter, bro, makes short work of his opponent. I don't even remember the guy's name, bro. He's somebody who did you see it, Ray? Because I know for a fact Ray Angelo saw it because he was there. But did you see it?
I missed the first fight.
Okay.
I caught the I caught the fight. Hold on.
No, I'm saying Demazian Van Houter, specifically the heavyweight fight. Fight.
I missed that one.
Okay.
I missed that fight.
I'm gonna send it off to Angelo then.
Oh, no. I did see it. He was fighting. My bad. That was
Raphael Murphy.
He was a heavyweight though. Big white skin tall dude, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You saw the fight?
Yeah.
Okay,
I was peeking at it through because FaZe was calling the fight. FaZe the Great was calling the fight, and they had it in the corner while I was on the panel.
So what'd you think of it?
I listen. Let me tell you something. I thought it was a clinic, to say the least. I didn't expect it to be as clean fought. I will definitely say that. I didn't expect it to be as clean fought as it was. But the dude's a beast, bro. He's a monster in that ring.
Yeah, Demazian is somebody. He's somebody who if you don't get that right and put in front of him, he's gonna make short work of a lot of people. It's gonna be difficult to match him up with anybody who's gonna make a fight out of it. But Angelo, you was there, you met Demazian, you sat with him, you got to catch up and you seen him. So let's get some firsthand. What'd you see? How'd you feel? What'd you think about the performance?
Yeah, first of all, so Zuffa Boxing 6, to Claymore's own words, he said that's been his favorite so far. I've been to Zuffa Boxing 4 because I can't miss my Us, Ja Apataya, win that first Zuffa Boxing title. And then I now got to go to Zuffa 6. Shout out to the whole show. Shout out to Ryan Scalia, who's doing a hell of a job at matchmaking. We got to see 4 underdogs out of 8. So if y'all were smart enough to put money in, the people that shout out to Jaleel Hackett for calling it for Alexis Alvarado, that was plus 600. Even Ness was shocked when he was calling the fights. He was like, oh my God. So if you were smart enough to put money on that, good for you. My guy from the Bay Area, Sugar Sarai Mamatovic, beat the French IBO champ. That was a light heavyweight fight. Light heavyweight fight, main event. That was plus 400. So if you bet on that. I bet on Shane Mosley Jr. He was plus 250, I think. So definitely lots of underdogs. But what you should never bet against. Never ever do it, y'all. Mark my words. I'm gonna stand 10 toes down on this. Demazian Maserati Van Houter is the only guy. He is the only guy you guys should be paying attention to when it comes to the heavyweight division, man. Being there live to actually hear his punches and see the whole experience. This, first of all, I don't know why the hell BoxRec or whoever got the stats wrong. Look, I stood next to this guy. Okay, he's at least 6'4". All right, he's at least 6'4". So somebody get the facts right. Y'all got him listed as 6'2". This guy is a giant. All right, so that's number one. His weight though is interesting because he really is only like Usyk, like 225, 228. I don't know. I don't know about that. But the way this kid punches, what I will give you the scouting report on right now is so far all we've seen out of Demazian Van Houter is gear 1. I believe he has a whole set of other gears that he hasn't even been able to show yet because these guys are not ready for him. I don't think it's a Mozzie problem. I think it's a everyone else problem. And I heard Trees, and everybody like texting me, hey man, Angelo, I want Demazian to fight Price Taylor. You talking about Price Taylor who almost got knocked out in Atlanta on Saturday? Boy, Price Taylor, you better never show up to Zuffa. And if you do show up to Zuffa, you better hope they never set you up against Demazian Van Houter, bro, because you're getting knocked the F out. Stop talking to me about all these other. You guys better start talking to me about people like Richard Torres. That's if you want a challenge for Demazian Van Houter, and I'm not saying that's what Mozzie wants. I'm saying if we start talking about Demazian, Clay, the names better be recognizable names. Don't be talking to me about no Price Taylor. That's food, bro. That's food. All these other up-and-coming guys, that's food. So, no, that was an experience, Claymore.
I think that Demazian definitely needs food right now. You know what I'm saying? Feed him, keep feeding him. I don't care about who he's fighting so much anymore. I just want to see him busy, and I know that's what the game plan is. I know that's what Zuffa's going to do. Keep him busy. He's just one of those. He's so young. He's growing into his body. When we talked to him last time on the show, speaking to him, because I had to ask him the question, like, do you still feel like a small guy in your brain getting used to your body? Because he grew up, he had such a crazy growth spurt out of nowhere. He was moving through the weight classes like, killing his parents, I'm sure, on clothes and shoes and shit. Like, motherfucker, I just bought you that 2 weeks ago. You need a job. If you're gonna be growing like this, you need a damn job. Okay, we don't do that. You either stop growing or you find your way to make some money, young boy. I ain't gonna keep doing this with you. You heard? Now give me the damn shirt that's too tight and see if I can go ahead and get this receipt and get a refund. Because this one I just bought 2 weeks ago, so maybe I can get some money back on this one. But you gonna have to stop this shit. That being said, though, you see it, man, and I think the biggest thing I see about Demonzian Van Houter is he's bringing the athleticism, he's bringing the boxing IQ, because when they're in those lower weight classes, they're boxing a little bit more because they don't have all the size to lean on. Pause, if that needs to be said, you know. So he's kind of like a Usyk, almost like Usyk brings that pedigree to the heavyweight division that most boxers in the heavyweight division don't carry, because they can lean on their weight, their height. They can stay behind their jab a little bit more. They can be a little more straighter with their right hands, you know. But when Usyk gets up there, his movement, his athleticism, his punch, his combination punch, and his angles, they cause a lot of problem for all those dudes up there because they're not really trained that way. They've been big for all of their life. They didn't move through the weight classes. And Demonzian brings that intangible to the conversation. Even in this fight, I saw, you know what I mean, the way he was putting the punches together. But first of all, he's producing a lot of power in short spaces. That's so dangerous. You know what I'm saying? The body work he did in there, you could hear it. And that's one thing that I may miss a little bit about the Apex is when you watch fighters fight at Apex, you hear so much more about what's going on inside the ring. You hear the sounds, you hear the coaching, you hear just certain things. Same thing as Riyadh season. I always said people get upset about Riyadh season to a certain degree, but there's certain things about Riyadh season I, as a fan sitting at home, can appreciate. I can appreciate the sound effects, and it gives you that intimate feeling, you know what I mean, of being there. Whereas in a big stadium, you know, you're getting every bit of your feeling from the commentators, and you're getting it from obviously what you're seeing in real time for yourself. But it's not the same thing. It's not that intimate relationship. So I'm super excited to see what Demonzian's going to do, man. I say move him accordingly. You have a star in your hand, clearly. White gloves, man. He's the future of the heavyweight division in Zuffa, but legitimately an argument for him being the future of heavyweight boxing in America, period, right? So handle him accordingly, and we'll be covering it as you guys do that. Now, shout out to my guy, Julian Rodriguez, bro. Julian, listen, man, if you guys don't know, to me, Julian, I've never really accepted Julian as a full 147 pounder yet. I did Sunday. And not that's not me like sleeping on him, but just knowing that because of the weight classes in Zuffa boxing, I feel like if it was a perfect world and they had a 140, he would have fought at 140. You know what I'm saying? He'd have been more dominant there. But he took the chance, he took the leap forward, went to 147, and twice now he's been in the ring looking like the smaller guy, right? He just looks like the smaller guy. And then in this one, we had questions going into this one. He went in there with an undefeated dude. He was domestic level, right? He wasn't world class per se, you know what I'm saying? But he came in with those intangibles, tall, long arms. It kind of almost looked like Sebastian Fundora, right? It was like, damn, how's he gonna do this? And to me, Julian put on a masterclass in how you handle that type of a situation, right? The real tall guy with that. If you wondered how would a Boots pull this off, how would a Bud have pulled it off? How would maybe an Errol Spence? If you wondered how these guys would pull it off with these tall fighters and the shorter fighter, and you're like, damn, bro, Sebastian, like me, by the way, I'm talking about me, like me saying, man, this guy got the cheat code, bro. This is crazy, bro. This is unfair. Julian showed you how to do it. He showed you how to handle that situation. And he put it on a masterclass. Now, I think he could have gotten that guy out of there. I'm going to be real with you, right? But I understand how he played it. He didn't play it too safe. He didn't give us a boring fight. It was a good fight. He had a lot of moments in the fight. But without a doubt, he outclassed him. And he showed me that he is, in my opinion, in the lead right now at 147 as far as the Zuffa League is concerned, not including like Devin Haney if he signs over there, Tiafimo if he signs over there, or even a Richardson Hitchens. Those guys are going to be the real litmus test for Julian. But man, he showed up. He showed up and had a great performance on Saturday. What do you guys think about the man?
I'm just going to tell you, I thought that this guy was going to do this, the Fedora with Julian. I ain't gonna lie. I was like, Julian, I hope he don't get caught. I said, I hope he don't get caught with those down force punches, bro, because it's gonna hurt. But he was able to weather the storm. He was able to get in and out. He was able to use combinations at will, back the opponent up, go to the body. He did everything right, like you just said, Clay. He did everything correctly. He was able to force Pereira out into a defensive mechanism. Basically, he
had him on his back foot.
Yeah, he didn't have him throwing back or nothing. And when he threw back, it had nothing on it, and it was just like, I'm just trying to keep you away from me. It wasn't like I'm trying to hurt you or push you back. It was just like, bro, I don't know what to do. So shout out to Julian Rodriguez for that, for real.
And being able to cross that void. He did a good job of slipping that lead hand, getting on the inside. What I liked about it is he was slipping that lead hand, getting on the inside, letting his hands go, and then getting out of danger. You know what I'm saying? Without a doubt, I think somebody in the chat just said that Sebastian Fedora and Pereira, I think the first thing I said was Pereira is domestic, right? He's not world class. But it was a picture of, I think, what a shorter fighter wants to do against Sebastian Fedora. I think what you saw Julian do is what Errol, what Boots, what Virgil, what those guys are going to want to try to do to Sebastian. That's going to be the game plan. Like, the mentality is going to be, let's get inside of this man's jab, smother, and make him pay. Not just make him miss us and not get hit, but also put him on his back foot and take advantage of the openings that we have. I also like he would fight short a little bit. He'd kind of get low, get close, and kind of get low, then come in, force him to reach to get him. And then I'm going to teach, right? You reach, I teach. I'm going to put you in a position where you got to come get me, but I'm going to do it in a range. So when you come get me, you throw yourself in range so I can actually hit you. Like, perfect measurement of distance. Julian showed that IQ, bro. He's mentally, he's got a lot of wrinkles to his game, a lot of layers to who he is and his capabilities. He was in a fight with a guy, right? He was in a fight with a guy, Kane Sandoval, who was smothering him, trying to overwhelm him with punches and not give him space to work. And he showed you that he can maneuver in that situation and dominate. And then he got this other guy where he was able to slow the fight down, control the distance, take his time, and be meticulous and cerebral with the way he approached it to break him down, to the point to where I think, honestly, by like round 5, I felt like I was confident. I thought Julian was going to stop him. Like, I thought he was just going to end up. I was anticipating him hitting him with the kill shot because he was measuring him and moving him as he sees fit. And it just showed it was an opportunity that he took, and he did the right thing. He didn't get fight of the night or anything like that. But if you're paying attention to Julian Rodriguez, it made you more confident in the product.
Oh yeah.
It made you more confident. What'd you think, Angelo?
Yeah, no, just watching it, there was a lot of Julian Rodriguez people around where I was sitting at. And Clay, like I could sit there and I can get the press row seats. The problem with it is then I can't yell or cheer for the people that I want to do it for. So me personally, I buy my own tickets. So for any of you who may be thinking I'm getting in there, no, bro, because if you really support boxing, then don't pirate it. Then if you really want to support it, then go buy your tickets. Then otherwise, you can shut the fuck up and not say anything at all, right? Because you're not a consumer. So I was yelling the hell out of. I mean, I was trying to be careful. Thank goodness I was around the Julian people though. So, but yeah, no, Julian did great. Julian did great. I was, because you want to be able to yell for the people that you want to support, right? So Julian was fantastic. I know, Clay, that Max Kellerman's getting killed for it, but I don't think Max Kellerman said Julian is like Miguel Cotto.
Oh my God!
I think he was trying to explain a style that Julian was using.
God, bro, right? They won't let that man live, bro.
Can I just say that Julian looked fantastic? He definitely showed power now at 147, and I get it. Some people will say, "Oh, well, Pereira, who is that guy?" Well, if you guys are still doubting Ryan Scalia as a matchmaker, then you might want to stop doubting him, because he's winning a lot of people money right now because he keeps putting together 50-50 style fights, and the odds makers are the ones getting it wrong. So going into it, Pereira was a pretty high underdog, like plus 650 or something like that. But heading into the fight, you saw, Clay, and you could see the analysts of it. It was kind of complicated for for Julian to try to figure out the rhythm of getting in. But just like you said, by round 5, he had the distance. So once he got the distance, then, you know, it was like a Tom and Jerry, right? Like Julian was trying to see if he could set a trap to try to get another knockdown. And James just kept throwing that jab to, you know, kind of keep him honest in the distance. I can understand why Julian might not have tried to be careless. Because what if you're winning every single round and then you get careless in the 10th round? Oh, you mean like David Morrell, Ray Davis? Yeah. So anyway, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I think Julian Rodriguez was doing the right thing. And actually, Clay Coppinger, and when I was there, it kind of felt like they're pushing Julian to fight Hitchens next. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying, I know Julian wouldn't say no to a fight like that, but that might be Hitchens' next fight. So want to let me know how you think a fight like that might happen if it does go down next?
I think Julian, hey, bro, I think that'd be a very competitive fight. And you know what I mean? I'm not picking any winners per se. You know what I'm saying? I'm just being honest to say that Julian has the move. See, the thing about Hitchens is he gets comfortable in the boxing match. If he can keep you in a boxing match where he can control the distance and just work behind his jab, that's what he's going to do. Yep. I think Julian has enough to force him to get out of that comfort zone and potentially put him in moments in a 10-round fight that where Hitchens has to fight. I think that'd be a great fight. I'm very intrigued and interested in seeing what Hitchens looks like at 147 without that weight cut, without the rehydration clause. I want to see if his punch resistance gets a little bit better. I want to see if he gets a little bit stronger. You know, we just watched David Benavidez get into a fight with Zurdo Ramirez, and we saw him get real strong in the cruiserweight division. You know what I'm saying? Like, in a way that I don't know if we found that strength at 175. I don't know if you guys would agree. Like 175, we were questioning still, did the power translate for real? Like, he became more of a boxer, but we didn't. In the cruiserweight division, all of a sudden, once he was able to not cut that weight, all of a sudden his shit was stinging. He was swelling shit up, closing shit up, breaking orbital bones. He was doing stuff. So I'm interested in seeing if Hitchens has any, even with Devin, we saw that, right? When he went to 147, all of a sudden his punches started hitting just a little different. He put Brian Norman, because we've seen Brian Norman get punched on by people. He's been hit by a Santillan. He's been hit before. We saw Cuervas hit him, you know what I'm saying, and get him on his leg. So we know he could take a shot. And Devin broke his nose and put him down. Like, it was like, woo, we didn't expect. Like, Devin was always like the kind of like the guy who didn't turn over his punches completely correctly and wasn't generating the power that we thought he could generate. And here he comes at 147 and he has all of us wondering and intrigued and excited to see what he does next. Let's see what he does in his next 147-pound fight. So I'm kind of looking at Hitchens that way as well, because like I also said to you, Julian Rodriguez to me is a 140-pounder. He's fighting at 147. Now, he showed his skills at 147 Sunday. He showed that he can handle it. So he's an official world-class 147-pound fighter for me now.
World-class, boy. He graduated.
Hey, he knocked out Avius Griffin, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, wherever you rank Avius Griffin, he knocked him out.
100%. 100%. But, you know, once again, even in the Avius Griffin fight, it was kind of like he was world-class in that fight for sure, but he was stepping up. He was playing. I'm going to play around at 147, but I'm really a 140-pounder. Today, he's an official 147-pounder world-class fighter. You know what I'm saying?
I like that.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to say, Ray, is that
no, I got it. I got it.
You can't discredit what Julian's done. 3 undefeated fighters.
No. Right.
He's beaten them. He was an underdog against Kane Sandoval, who's about to make his next Zuffa fight June 28th here at the Cosmo. But Julian against Hitchens, let me ask you this, because you're going to be in the East Coast, right? If that goes in East Coast, let's call it Brooklyn, right? Or somewhere there. You think Hitchens and Julian Rodriguez as a co-main event could sell a lot of tickets? Yeah,
absolutely. You got Jersey versus New York. That's a big showdown. It'll be right here in the Atlantic area. So I like it. I wouldn't take anything away from it. I think there's a lot of mistakes that Julian could put Hitchens in based on what I've seen. Hitchens doesn't like pressure. He doesn't like being uncomfortable. Clay mentioned that. And Hitchens also likes to control his jab. He likes to control the spacing. And Julian seems to put pressure on that fight. Listen, I'll be safe to say this. Let's just throw Devin Haney in the mix. I don't think Devin that's a welcoming fight for Devin to walk into a Julian Rodriguez. That's a potential upset. And that's me saying, because Julian's pressure is something that you have to accustom to and watch and visualize. It's not something you just jump in the arena with and think that he's going to you're going to be able to just beat him. Julian has a high motor, and that's something that you have to protect. You know what I mean? When you're fighting a guy like that, I'm not telling you like Devin can't pull it out or Julian will wash him. I'm not saying either one. I'm not talking about wins or losses. I'm just talking about the danger of the fight, and that's a very dangerous fight for any of these guys. Julian is he's a real dog.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? You're saying that, and I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. I see what you're like. I can see Julian. The thing about it with Devin is, if he can control the fight, he's like Hitchens in a lot of ways. If he can control the fight behind the jab, he'll do that, right? And I think Julian is the kind of fighter that can. I don't know what he will do, but that can get past the first layer, right? And force Devin to do the next thing, which I know Devin's built to do the next thing. You feel me? But the thing about Devin is, if you don't force him to do the next thing, he won't do the next thing, right? Does that make sense? Like, you know what I mean? Like, if I could do it from here, that's where it's going to get done from. You could be mad, feel how you want to feel about it. And very similar to Shakur as well, right? Shakur worked behind his jab with Tio, and everybody complained at the end saying he could have done more. Yeah, you're probably right, but he didn't need to. And he's the kind of guy who's just like not giving himself issues, right? You give me the issues, I'll solve the problems. If you don't give me any issues, I'm not just playing around in here and doing something and having to look back at it and be like, damn, I didn't have to do that. And I took this L. I didn't have to do that. Nah, you show me the issue, I'll pull out the tools accordingly. And I think Julian is somebody who can force a fighter to do that. He's going to force you to adjust. He's going to be like, okay, I see what you're doing. Right. I got something for that. And then you're going to go, oh, boy, maybe, okay, now I got to do this. And as boxing fans, we win in those situations. Right?
And I
love to get to see the fighters do that.
And that was the fight that you were asking for, Clay. You were talking about you needed to see somebody put pressure on Devin and force him to fight. That's the guy to do it. I'm being honest with you. I mean, you were talking about Conor Ben before, and I was like, I don't think Conor is willing to do it. Because Conor watched that fight, and I love Conor Ben as a fighter. But when he watched that fight, he was calling Devin out that whole night. Once he seen that boy use that power at 147, he second-guessed himself and said he's going a different direction. He wasn't looking to call out Devin at that point. He wanted Ryan or Rolly, if I'm not mistaken, when he was behind the
right. Well, yeah, Conor Ben definitely doesn't want to get in front of Conor Ben's honest enough with himself. He knows what it is. He knows where he's strong. I'm strong in the fight. I don't want to make it all about boxing because that's not the thing I do. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're going to box and fight me, yes. But if you're just going to box me, that's where that's where I'm not going to look my best because I'm not the best boxer. Correct. You know what I'm saying? I'm a great fighter though. So if you're willing to give me some fight, I'm down to fight you. And I think that's what Conor's whole thing, right? Is right. Like, Devin, give me some fight and I'll fight you. But if you're just going to force me to just look not up on your level on a boxing match, I'm not interested in it because it's going to be boring. And it's not that I'm going to lose. It's that I'm going to be part of a fight that, boring fight that I might not have solutions to. You can make the fight boring where I can't do nothing about it because you're just that much level elite over me. And I don't want to be part of a boring fight. Give me a fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, give me an opportunity.
Julian would be a good ass fight.
Yeah.
That'd be that Hell's Bells fight, bro. Like, straight up.
Yeah.
100%. Shout out to everybody in the building. About 60 people in the building. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Julian Rodriguez
thinking about getting a Zuffa tattoo.
Yeah, somebody. Yeah, Julian had a great fight, but I guess the icing on the cake, the protein on the plate, maybe not even the icing on the cake, the protein on the plate, the fight of the night, which we knew the possibilities were there, was Shane Mosley Jr. Listen, Shane Mosley, we talked about it before the fight, going into his second chapter of his career. And me and Angelo talked about it a little bit yesterday with the way I kind of described it, to say that Shane kind of, hit his stride halfway through his career, right? Because he started off well off, a father who did very well for himself and took care of him well, and Shane Mosley Sr. And he didn't have to box the way other fighters have to. He wasn't getting it out the mud and, trying to find a way for his family. He was just, probably idolizing his father a lot, right? Probably like, oh man, my dad's my hero, and he jumped into boxing that way. And it takes a certain amount of grit and need from a boxer to kind of really do everything that needs to be done for you to be the best in your sport. He found that in his children. He found that in his father's last name and his legacy. And he learned a lot throughout the journey. Now in his mid to late 30s, getting an opportunity now to main event on a card, hit the main event on a card, and fight a high level fighter like Serhiy Bohachuk, who was in the top of the conversation at 154. Granted, this was a 160 conversation. We'll talk about that as well, as far as what that may have had to do with what we saw happen in that ring. But Shane Mosley shows up, bro. Serhiy Bohachuk shows up. You know what I mean? They both turn up, and Shane beats Serhiy Bohachuk at his own game. He out Bohachuk. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely got to ask you guys what you thought about that fight, and even speak on what you expected going into that fight. Anybody? I guess.
I thought Ray was going to go first.
Yeah, I'll go first. Sure. First of all, I had Bohachuk winning. I didn't think Shane showed enough discipline in certain fights as a boxer to face pressure fighters. Now, he did show a little bit of a chin in his last fight. He shows that he has he's able to get punched and punch back, but he just didn't show the eliteness that we all think. So we get caught up in the moments of who their dads were and who they are, and I think that happens a lot with these fighters. And I think with Shane Jr., we just was like, yo, he's not his father. He's just not him. So when I thought Bohachuk, moving up to 160, guy who likes pressure, falling forward, high guard, likes to punch, I thought he had everything but enough to deal with Sugar Shane Jr. But man, oh man, here's the problem I have. I love the fight. I like what Shane did. I like that Shane was relentless and able to punch. And I don't know how far I'm going to go with this, but it was just weird to me, Clay, in a little bit, to say the least, that I just thought Thomas Taylor does too damn much, bro. I swear, though he knocked Bohachuk down, though Bohachuk was rocked, I mean, Angelo, you were there. I thought Bohachuk has always been a warrior, and I thought he could have continued to muster some strength up, and we could have seen a better fight, like a real good clash. And that had potential of being a fight of the night, because these guys were in each other's face all night long. But nevertheless, Thomas Taylor stopped the fight. We got what we got. Shane Mosley looked great doing it. Bohachuk, sorry, another L on your resume, but hey, continue to be who you are.
Yeah, I agree with you on the stoppage too. Like, I'm okay with it. Yeah, but I was like, I think it could have went a little further. Go ahead, Angela. Sorry.
Yeah, no, as I mean, the pacing of the show was really cool, because the first fight you see where you're thinking, wow, these guys might be fighting tonight, was Alvarado Cardenas, right?
Yeah.
But then you're like, all right, but let's see what happens. Man, when Katsarakis and Misael Rodriguez was fighting, that whole place was rocking. There were Greek fans, Mexican fans. I was sitting next to one of Andreas's like equipment people. They were going nuts, bro. So I kind of was thinking, I don't know if the Shane Mosley versus Bohachuk fight could live up to it. And when they started hitting each other, and Shane Mosley went to power boxing rather than like boxing, right? That's when it got interesting. Because honestly, I bet on Shane, but I kind of thought, I don't know if you want this game plan, kid, because you've taken a lot of hits too, right? But when he rocked them near the end of the round, everybody in the arena knew, oh my God, there's a chance that Shane might actually knock him out. His grandpa and his dad were both like, come on, son, right? Let's go get him. So when he knocked him out, bro, a few seats to the right was where his wife and his family was. It was so cool to see Shane knock him out, jump on the rope, looked at his wife, and he's like, I love you. And it was really cool. It was a very great storytelling moment. Just in terms of how I think they're gonna do it, Clay, I think Shane Mosley will probably fight Liam Walsh, or I'm sorry, I keep calling him Caleb Walsh after the August 8th Ireland fight. So Caleb Walsh headlining in Ireland on August 8th. I think they probably want to give Caleb Walsh a step up to Ocampo.
100%.
But if Caleb looks good, you might be looking at the first Zuffa Boxing 160-pound title, and I'd be all for it, man. I mean, what do you think about that, Clay? Caleb Walsh versus Shane Mosley Jr.
I think the fight is great. I think it makes sense if you're trying to build up Caleb Walsh. I think Shane Mosley Jr., he's not the biggest name, but he is a name, right? He has that legacy behind him, the name on the paper, and then now you compound that with the performance he had against Serhii Bohachuk. The only person to stop Serhii Bohachuk last time I checked was Brandon Adams. He's been a warrior throughout his whole career. Like I said, being in there with a Virgil Ortiz Jr., he's a tried, true, tested, battle-tested fighter. To see Shane Mosley do that to him, that brings so much. I'm be honest with you, I don't know if Shane doesn't beat Caleb. You know what I mean? The one that I've seen, I don't know. Because I know what he did in the ring with Serhii Bohachuk is an addition to what he does in real time. He doesn't normally just fight that way, but he showed you he can, right? But there's that's just another layer of issues that Shane Mosley brings to the table when you get into a fight with him. So that becomes very interesting. I think he has the pedigree to drag Caleb Walsh into a situation to where he's fighting that way. Because if he's able to close that space, cross the void, Caleb wants to be comfortable. He wants to work behind his jab. He wants to, he wants to put on a masterclass. If you force him where he can't do that and he has to earn it and get Shane to respect him, then the fight becomes way more interesting, because I think in that conversation, he's just not as experienced as other fighters are. And that would be a test. If Caleb were to make it through that, then he'd show us his grit, his determination. He'd show us his wrinkles. And that would maybe even be a fight that on the back end of a victory for Caleb, we could believe in him now, because I think there's a large part of the space that is having a hard time. Like, we're looking at Caleb like,
yeah.
We thought, and we don't know who you really are. Fernando Vargas, you look vanilla. Your first fight at Zuffa, all that shit that we're talking about you. I know you're supposed to be Dana White's golden boy, but I don't know if Dana got a golden boy in Caleb Walsh. I think Shane Mosley could battle test him, give him a rites of passage. You know what I mean? He has the skill to do that. So I think that's a great fight, and it makes sense. It's probably why Shane Mosley is there and why he was main eventing. They probably got that in the master plan. They probably already wrote it on the wall. We want Shane Mosley the name, because they don't have names at 160. They don't have the names yet. You know what I'm saying? Shane is the closest.
They're getting a nice roster, though, Clay. They're getting they have a nice roster,
but if you're trying to break out Caleb, which I know they want him to stand out like a Jai Opetaia. That's what they want. They want him to be a standout at Zuffa Boxing, but they don't have the dance partner for him that has a name. Like, you could throw him in there with Jalil. He probably gonna be.
Oh, bro, don't do that. Why are you trying to get Caleb murdered?
What I'm saying is, it's not about the skill set level of competition at 160. It's about the name recognition that can give him the push. You know what I'm saying? He needs the name. There's fighters at 160 over there that will run it with him. That will run it with Caleb and probably beat him. There's plenty of talent over there, but Shane brings that intangible that Caleb Walsh needs. It is what it is. But that being said, we were just talking about. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, because you brought up the Jalil one, and I was just gonna do a quick thing on what Ray was saying. Yeah, with Bohachuk, Ray, he's fought so hard now that I don't know what they'll do with him after this knockout, but certainly probably a fighting down type. He might become a gatekeeper. So I don't know if Andres Katsarakis will hit that picture, or Misael Rodriguez. But yeah, man. But I hope Bohachuk ends up still fighting.
I could see Misael. I can see Misael Rodriguez and Serhii Bohachuk for sure.
I mean, you guys don't want him to retire, right? He's only 31 years old.
If he chooses to retire, he can, but I don't see why he would. He's in the part of his career right now to where he can make some good money. He's a name still. He's a great fighter. He finally got here. You know what I mean? Just to take 2 fights into your Zuffa career right now and to walk away from it, that's on you. But I don't think he's retiring. I think he fights again. I think he gets wins and he gets losses, and he makes money though, and he helps grow the brand. He helps grow the 160-pound division. You know what I'm saying? And look, he has an opportunity in each one of his fights to be special, to be significant, and to be. That's the thing about Zuffa, right? That's the thing about the structure. If you do the work and you get the wins, you're right there in the conversations that you want to be in. It's not a popularity contest. It's a what you do in the ring contest. You know what I'm saying? So But we're talking about pedigree now, and I want to jump into the elephant in the room. We're little past an hour mark here on this podcast. And listen, the fight of the weekend, undoubtedly, the big one, the big one that took over the whole weekend was Fabio Wardley and Daniel Dubois. This fight had all of the extras, right? It had the dressing, it had the cheese on the broccoli, it had the, you know what I'm saying, it had the dessert. It was a 3, 4, 5 course main meal. We went into this fight with so many questions in our mind, but one thing we didn't question was the explosive nature of the fight, the excitement, the big punchers, young punchers, right? Daniel Dubois, as much as we might want to look at him as a veteran, what is he like? Is he even 30 yet? Has he even hit 30
28.
yet?
He just turned 28. He's only 20.
And then obviously we know that Fabio Wardley is, you know, what, 22, 23, 20, I don't know what he is, right? But at the end of the day, it had all those elements in there, and then even had that mental edge. Daniel Dubois coming in with his story, Fabio Wardley coming into the ring with his story, and those stories colliding, and us getting the opportunity to see it on the big stage. Going into the fight, I'll tell you right now, I'll set it off and say, I favor Daniel Dubois to win, but just by a little because of Daniel. I 100% was saying I just thought Fabio Wardley didn't have the pedigree. Not just based off of his experience, based off his performances, right? What he looked like with Justice Hooney, what he looked like with Joseph Parker, on the back end of victories as well, right? Because I know that was an easy place to go for people to be like, well, you're talking about where he won. Yeah, but I'm talking about the fight, the holes in his game. I'm talking about being at this level where Daniel Dubois has lived for the past, I don't know how many years, let's say last 3 years, 4 years, he's lived up here next to an AJ, next to an Alexander Usyk, next to a Joseph Parker, next to an Ajit Kabayel, next to, like, his names were there for those fights, next to a Martin Bakole. That's when you talked about Daniel Dubois, that's what you said, right? Oh man, I wonder what he looked like against Martin Bakole. I wonder what he looked like against Joseph Parker. Wonder what he looks like with Usyk the second time. I wonder what he looks like with AJ. That's the conversation he was in. And Fabio Wardley was not one of those guys who was in that conversation. He just came, like I said before, out of nowhere, right? Like all of a sudden he was in those conversations. He beat and upset, by the way, Joseph Parker, picked up an interim title and was elevated. And all of a sudden, this white-collared fighter, which is, I think, a UK term for a domestic level fighter. That's what I could think of, right? You know what I'm saying? This white-collar fighter came out of nowhere, and all of a sudden it seems like he woke up. We all woke up one morning, and this dude was the WBO champion of the world. And I was like, damn. But the performances weren't there for me. He was getting the wins, but he was doing kind of the Deontay Wilder thing a little bit, right? Which was, I'm losing a lion's share of these rounds, but because of my equalizer, when I finally connect with the equalizer, here I am. The whole world drank the Kool-Aid a little bit and got on to the Fabio. You wanted to see him win. If you are a fan of Fabio Wardley, you are a fan because he was the underdog. He was challenging the status, challenging the idea of what it looked like to be a champion, where you come from when you're a champion, what you've accomplished before you become a champion. He was superseding all those things that we come to understand in the traditional space, what it takes to be a champion. So, you know, you kind of had I'm cheering for the underdog type of energy about Fabio Wardley, but ultimately I expected this test to be the real litmus test for Fabio, right? The real litmus test was going to be what Daniel Dubois could do, but on the other side of the conversation was the mental edge that Daniel Dubois seemed like he's always teetering on and off of. That story came full circle, and I think there was an understanding now of why Don Charles is Daniel Dubois' trainer. There is no other trainer for Daniel Dubois. Daniel Dubois needs Don Charles. Like, you saw a trainer, you saw things happen in that fight Saturday where you were like, that's what Don Charles does. That's what he brings to the table. If you're not built like Don Charles, you can't get that respect. You can't get that out of Daniel Dubois. Daniel Dubois needed somebody who can get that out of him, and Don Charles knows how to do it. He sees when he's falling weak, and he knows how to bring him back. He knows how to bring him back from whatever dark space he's in. He will get him back together, and all those elements came together and gave us a fight of the year candidate. Explosion, punching, power, grit, durability. We saw pedigree meet lack of pedigree. We saw all those things happen. It was like a DMX concert. You know what I'm saying? You laughed, you cried, you prayed, you did everything. When the concert was all said and done, you were exhausted because you saw so many different things in one show. So that being said, my long-winded soliloquy, I want to send it back to the panel. I want to kind of express how I saw the fight. And oh yeah, by the way, we definitely have to talk about the stoppage and how that ended up turning out and what it ended up looking like. But any one of you guys feel like grabbing the floor right now and tell me what you saw.
I was just gonna say shout out to Frank Warren, Queensberry. That was a hell of a card. If you were gonna complain about paying for a pay-per-view, that particular one you shouldn't. He gave you 6 fights, 4 of them were knockouts. The David Morrell one was crazy, right? A school teacher knocked you out, bro. Woo-wee. Let's hey, Shakur, I just want to address this. Yeah, you might want to stop telling people that David Morrell is better than Jai Patai. I'm just gonna throw that out there in terms of the skill set.
Right.
I mean, if you were better than Jai, then you would have just continued to outbox Zach Shelley.
100%.
I've seen Jai Patai hurt. In fact, I've seen his jaws hanging from his mouth from round 3 to round 12. And that motherfucker beat the best cruiserweight in the world when that happened. So no, David Morrell, I'm sorry. And I'm not going to attack Ray Davis because, I'm just messing with him. But during that day, we were kind of going back and forth a little bit. So, but the whole card was awesome. Bradley Ray was awesome. Barbie, the one with the pink trunks and the pink gloves, but he was an awesome knockout artist. I know, Clay, you like Jack Rafferty. He did really good on that fight against Echo Usman. And then, man, there's Daniel Dubois, Fabio Wardley. So I'm going to take the heat from you guys because I do still rock with Fabio Wardley. So I'm happy to take the heat. I understand where Claymore's coming from when it comes to the boxing pedigree, as he calls it, because again, this guy didn't have an amateur career. That's that he lacks that part of it. What he doesn't lack, though, is the punching power, like as Claymore so eloquently said on his soliloquy. He's Deontay Wilder, and for the longest time, Clay, didn't you hear me keep calling Fabio Wardley the UK version of Deontay Wilder, even before all of this, like before he broke old boy's cheeks in Riyadh. I always kept saying, yeah, man, he's basically like UK Deontay Wilder. So I want to address the Max Kellerman thing you sent me. Max, I'm sorry, bro. You can't say that was not a good fight because in 2021,
I sent it to you, right? I sent it to you.
Yeah, you sent it to me.
I'll be so rapid fire, I'll be forgetting. But go ahead. I just
want to address it because you're wrong, Max. In 2021, Tyson Fury fought Deontay Wilder. Several knockdowns back and forth. It was the third fight I'm talking about, by the way, Clay. The third fight that happened. That was voted as 2021's fight of the year. I would argue that this fight that we just saw is way better than that fight, Fury versus Wilder 3. So if that was fight of the year in 2021, then this is definitely fight of the year now in 2026. Yeah. I'm shocked, but not shocked because I still to this day have never seen Fabio Wardley ever get knocked down. Right? He's like Jake LaMotta, bro. You'll never knock me down, Clay. You'll never knock me down. Like he'll take a beating. He'll die before he gets knocked down. Right? At the same time, there's parts of me that understands why Ben Davidson and the referee and everybody, I guess, was okay with it continuing. And then there's the human part of me, Clay, that goes, damn, nobody wants to stop this like around round 9, maybe? Like, at one point he stumbled. Remember, you saw it, Clay, you were calling it. But it was like they went, the bell rang, they were going to go. The referee said timeout for a second because maybe there was something on the floor. And then Fabio Wardley kind of stumbled a little bit. I think that was round 9. Even at that point, when you were calling the fight, I heard you say, man, look at that. He's stumbling. Somebody just needs to stop this fight already. And that's like a round and a half prior to them finally stopping. So I can go with both. I don't know. I want to hear what the chat thinks about this because should they have stopped this fight?
Absolutely.
early, or should they have let it keep going?
There was
There's
no
an argument
question.
to say they should have stopped that fight at 8, even between
Yeah.
7 and 8.
7 and 8, yeah.
Within the first minute of 9. Like if you get, maybe just out of respect, you let him know at 8, if you don't show me something special, I'm stopping this fight inside the first minute. You know what I mean? You let him know, like, you better go out here and show me something, because I can't look your wife, your child, your family in the eye if I let you take too much more than what you're taking. So it's on you, champ. I'm ready to stop it now. The doctor's already looked at you. You got to go out there and not be a fucking punching bag. You got to do that. If you show me that, it goes on as long as you want it to. But I'm letting you know right now, I got this towel in my hand, I got this concern in my head, and I got these wrinkles in my forehead, and I got my glasses on. Good luck. See you in round 9. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Let's get it going.
Crazy work, man, because I agree with all that. And I'm just going to say, disappointed in Howard Foster, who's known for stopping fights just from a trickle of blood, not even allow this fight to go so far and not even get in the middle of this. And then it looked to me like he wanted that fight to continue. Now this just be me. I'm speculating, and I'm throwing a what you call them, conspiracy theory out there a little bit. But it was like he gave Wardley time. He pushed Dubois away. He was telling Dubois, "Don't do this, don't do that." It was like he was like literally trying to continue the fight. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, damn, like this guy ain't stopping the fight, bro. This dude nose split in half and face about to is swelling up. His eyes closed, look like 7 golf balls in a pocket. I'm like, yo, this dude look crazy. Then I pulled up the Goonie picture, which is even more diabolical. And I'm like, damn, he looked like Dan Sloth. This guy was done. He was toast. He was fried. I'm definitely going to say round 7. Round 8 solidified it. It should have been stopped there. For them to even wait till 9, for them to even take a look at his eye. And I was like, you're taking a look at his eye? Damn it, bro. Look at the cut on his nose. Right. That shit was split in half. Like, literally the bridge of his nose was split like at least a half.
Ray, not to even to interrupt, right? But to even say that, I think when he's in the corner, what kind of instructions do you even have time to give him?
Right.
You're spending a lion's share of the time tending to his broken face, right? Like you're trying to, if you get to a point to where you're tending to your fighter's injuries to the point to where you don't even have time to give him instruction.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Where you're going towel after towel, like, fuck, you're trying to, there's something going on there. There's concern there. And listen, Fabio Wardley's a young heavyweight. You know, he doesn't have the pedigree. He has time to have a better career. You know, it's kind of like if he's older or kind of on his way out, you let him go out and shield. Maybe even then, maybe there's an argument that you don't do that. Right. But that young, that much, to me, it was a testament to how much promise you thought he had. Because for me, if Moses Atama would have been in that same situation, I think you got to stop it.
Yeah, right.
If you have, you know what I'm saying? If Damazian Van Houder's in that situation, you're his trainer, you go, we live to fight another day. I'm not ruining this kid. I'm not putting him through something that he may not be able to recover from. It's not your night. You've been hurt too early. You didn't recover the way we wanted to. It's not the end all be all. You're 20-something years old. I'm throwing a towel in. You could be mad at me, Damazian or Fabio, but I know you have such a great career ahead of you. I'm not going to let that happen. It felt like they kind of threw the dice and threw him away a little bit, right? Like, fucking, man, the show's too good. Look what the crowd's doing. Everybody's screaming, yo, throw him in there. Like, what about him, though? Are you concerned at all with him? Stop the fight.
Right, exactly.
I've seen fights stop for less, period.
And to build on this a little bit more, Clay, it's just crazy that that you just said that, right? The corner, and that was my next thing. It's like the corner doesn't get involved. It doesn't even look like they're concerned because they always know that this guy has landed a big punch later in the fight and gotten his opponent out of there. But they're relying on a hammer that was broken, a hammer that was not even finding a spot, a one-eyed hammer, to be honest with you, that couldn't even see because it was on the backside of his striking of his opponent because his front eye is closed completely. So I'm like, damn, this guy can't even see. His bird vision, all that shit, right? Then we want to compare, right, the Boychuk, and this is just me doing this, stoppage 2 from Thomas Taylor, who I think prematurely stops fights all the time, as well as Howard Foster. Yes, I think there was a difference, stock chasers. Absolutely, there was a difference. Boychuk was not to the point out on his feet. He was just hurt and buzzed. He was trying to regain. He got knocked down. He got back up. He was still trying to fight. And he was just one of those guys. He was just, you know what I mean, trying to get defensively set. He was still punching back. He was still moving. He was still coming.
Kept his hands up. His hands
he was
were
still
up.
coming forward. It wasn't like he was like, okay, I'm just going to keep letting you punch me and I'm not going to do nothing. No, he was trying. Wardley was clearly done at the 6 rounds, and the 7th round was conclusive. 8th round finished. 9th round, why are we here? So
10th round, you guys are criminal.
Thank
right?
you.
Like,
thank you. So
round,
that's a whole different conversation if you want to say why this happened. Now
I legitimately, Ray, believe there should be a magnifying glass. That fight, the abuse he took was investigation worthy.
Correct.
I'm gonna say like that, right? Like, I want to talk to the corner man. Tell me what you saw. I want to talk to the ref, like interviews, like in private rooms. What were you looking at? What did you see? The doctor, what did you see? I want to know the people who are around this fight that were supposed to protect the fighter, who were supposed to be enforcing the laws and you know, actively being a representative of the athletic commission, a representation of the sanctioning bodies. How did you guys come to the conclusion to where he took that much abuse that late into the fight with all that blood? Explain to us. I'm not saying you're wrong. You may very well be right, but I think a conversation is fair to be had. Like, please walk us through this situation. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I just want to say, so if I could just play devil's advocate for a second, right? I want to back up my guy, stock chaser here. I'm just gonna play devil's advocate. So let me land my plane before you guys respond.
Go ahead.
But there is something to be said about how just less than 3 weeks ago in the UK, there was a William Crolla fight. William Crolla gets knocked down 3 times in the first round. He was stumbling I mean, thank goodness the bell rang because he was stumbling. And there were so many arguments as to, man, they should have stopped that fight at the end of that first. Guy came back to win by knockout of the year, right? He had that guy shaking. They had to take the dude out in a stretcher. So that happened in the UK, and people saw that. On top of that, also in the UK, people have seen Fabio Wardley fights in where he's behind, like in the Justice Huni fight, or even more recently in the Joseph Parker fight, in where he is exhausted. But during this particular fight, and I'll point out round 9 because I want to just make sure that I'm being fair. I want to back up my dude, stock chaser. I'm playing devil's advocate. But even in round 9, you can see it on the replay. Fabio Wardley did connect with like an uppercut hook, right? And then Daniel Dubois got a big old head and he can take punches in the whole bit. But Wardley was still showing offensive prowess and his punches didn't slow down, even though his endurance may not have been there. So I don't know if round 9 would have been the time to stop it, right? I do agree with Clay that if you were going to stop it, round 10 might have been the criminal round to stop it. So, I will go to say that because, and let me land it here, because they've seen Fabio Wardley come back, because they just saw Fabio Wardley knock down Daniel Dubois, not once that day, but twice, because they could still see the referee, I'm talking about Andy Foster, could still see speed coming out of the punches of Wardley. Maybe that's why they didn't stop the fight. I just want to throw it out as a devil's advocate. And
I'm going to push back. I'm going to push back, right? And here's where my pushback is at. In all those fights, Wardley wasn't getting beat to a pulp like that, right? So because this wasn't about Wardley hitting Daniel. This was about Wardley getting hit, right? This wasn't about Fabio Wardley. Yes, he had moments where he hit Daniel. Daniel's not exactly the biggest defensively sound, slipping punches type of dude. He gets punched on, right? I'm saying Fabio's punches weren't hurting Daniel. They weren't, you didn't see him stumble no more. There's an argument there to say that Daniel took a knee in the third round, that he didn't get really knocked down. There's an argument there to say that he got caught off balance on the first knock. Daniel was never hurt. When Daniel was knocked down, when he got up, he jumped back into the fight and was giving Wardley issues again. He was never like, oh no, Daniel trying to make it. No, Daniel was just more like, damn, bro, you kind of caught me, bro. That's kind of crazy. I'm on my ass. You compound that with just the aesthetics of it all. I thought it was kind of sad and unfortunate that the referee, in my opinion, gave the corner and the doctor all the opportunity to stop this fight. He saw it, right? But he's like, I don't want to get in front of this big mega fight in this moment, because I know that's what everybody's expecting me to do. But I'm going to show concern. I'm going to say, hey, bro, is he all right? You sure you want to go in? Okay, you know what? I'm taking it to the doctor. Hey, the doctor looked at it. He did all these steps. He's stumbling. After he gets touched up, gets water on his face, he gets woken up, he's supposedly refreshed, he's stumbling in the corner. It's investigation worthy. It is what it is. It's conversation
right, exactly.
Right? It's I wouldn't be shocked and I wouldn't be upset at all if they didn't pull Ben Davidson to a room and be like, Ben,
what the hell is wrong with you?
Walk us through round. Let's start at the end of 7, in between 7 and 8, and just get us to 10, because you never stopped it. The referee ultimately, you're sending this kid back into the ring. Can you walk us through it? Give us an idea, do your best to bring us into your world about how you were looking at it, what you saw. Did you see possibilities? Was he successful in a certain way that you felt like? Walk us through it, because it seems like there's some irresponsibility in the way you wielded your power and your responsibility over this young fighter's future, and let's be honest, life. You know what I'm saying? That was in your hand.
Yeah.
So just if you make it make sense, it makes sense. It is what it is. If it makes sense, it makes sense. But it was hard to watch. After a certain point, it was kind of like you knew he wasn't going to go down. It's like they wanted him to go down, and he's like, he refused to go down, right? Like they wanted him, come on, fall over at least. And it's like, nah, he's done, bro. He's not going down. He's going to die standing up. There's a good chance whatever bad happens to him, that he's going to be standing there when it happens. You know what I'm saying? When David Morrell got put away, he was standing in the corner. He never actually went down. But the referee's like, oh, boy, you done. So it is what it is. Now, on the whole entire conversation of world class, right? That one dimension, Ben Davidson gets a lot more scrutiny than just not stopping the fight, right? Where was the game plan? Why was Fabio winging big old right hands, feinting? The feints to the body was an absolute joke, because there was absolutely no reason for those feints to the body to work against a high-level fighter like Daniel Dubois. Daniel Dubois is a fighter where you have to get the respect. Ben Davidson, you were just in the ring with Daniel Dubois with Anthony Joshua. You know what you're dealing with. You know who Daniel Dubois is. You telling me you didn't foresee that being a potential issue, that Daniel could figure out how to get away from a right hand or even take a right hand, that he could weather the storm, and you didn't come up with a contingency? You didn't put a contingency in place to deal with that? That man, Fabio Wardley, made 0 adjustments. He was winging those right hands. He was wide with them. He wasn't even straight with the shots. He wasn't using his jab. He was feinting with the jab. Feints only work when you get the respect, if that makes any sense, right? I punch you in your body enough to where when I feint to the body, you get defensive because you believe me. I've convinced you that I'm more than willing to punch you in your body. He's feinting from round 1, round 2, round 3 in a way where he never even earned it. So in between each one of these rounds, what is Ben Davidson telling this kid? What is he saying to him? You don't have the eyes to see? So a lot of scrutiny in the corner work over there. And then we go to the other side with Don Charles. Wow, bro. Complete opposite conversation. There is an argument to say that Daniel Dubois could not win that fight without Don Charles. Don Charles played his role to the highest level of what you see trainers do. Movie-worthy moments in that corner. Obviously, the slap that was heard around the world. And he did it multiple times, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. That was just the one they caught on camera and they showed the world. He was doing that. he was getting Daniel together. When Daniel was staring into space or too focused on maybe thinking about the fact that he got knocked down or too focused on what the crowd was thinking, here comes Don Charles. Wake the hell up. This is your fight. This dude is not on your level. We talked about this already. He is not on your level, Daniel. This dude is a damn white-collared fighter. He's made it up here through the grace and mercy of the God he serves. Okay? That's why he's in this ring with you. He hasn't earned it. He didn't beat up Joseph Parker. He didn't beat up Justice Hooney. He's not like that. You are the truth. You're battle tested. You went the full 10 with fucking Jarrell Big Baby Miller. A guy had 100 pounds on you, bro. He was leaning on you. You've seen way worse than this, kid. You've seen way worse. You've been hit by Philip Ergovitz for 3-4 straight rounds with straight right hands. You got in there with Anthony Joshua, a 2-time unified champion. He's done nothing to give you any thoughts in your mind about that trash-ass knockdown. We know what happened there. And Daniel showed up. The protein on the plate was the jab, the basics, the fundamentals, sticking him with that jab, forcing him to reset, forcing him to figure it out, disrupting the telegraph right hand, right in the middle, throwing the right hand, right in the middle, back up, right hand, straight down the middle, nothing fancy. He wasn't on Daniel Dubois' level, man. The corner work, can we speak on the corner work? Can we give some flowers to Don Charles? And can we talk about Ben Davidson in a way to where we can keep it respectful, because we know what he's doing with Moses Atama. We know what he's done with Anthony Joshua to a large degree, but no, not the shiniest moment for Ben Davidson. Ben Davidson, what the hell happened Saturday night? Because you failed Fabio Wardley.
Yeah. No, Clay, I can only speak from experience, right? Because I've been in that position where Ben Davidson is in. So I can tell you what my guess is on what he was thinking. So number one, Ben Davidson is a young, talented trainer, and he is a genius when it comes to X's and O's. So much so that Devin Haney still uses them, I think, right? Mm-hmm. So he's a very, very, very smart individual. I think in the moment, as a coach, Clay, your guy who you're trying to control in Fabio Wardley just scored a knockdown. So right away, I can already tell you from my own experience that just trying to calm you down so that you don't get too excited is hard enough. Because I got less than a minute to try to be like, bro, like you don't want to go, you don't want to go crazy. Now you couple that with the fact that Fabio Wardley does not have 100 amateur fights. He doesn't have 200 amateur fights. He never even had an amateur career. This is Wardley just going back to what he was going back to, Claymore, which is him going, yeah, but I got this dude. And what did you see Wardley doing, Clay? He was wailing, right? How many times did I hear you on calling the fight going, he's just throwing him like just, ooh, woo.
There was almost a desperation in the way he was throwing the right hand.
What I'm saying is now that's going into the second round. So now I'm putting myself in Ben Davidson's position as a trainer, because we're talking about the trainer side. And I'd have to really study and see what he did, because I didn't see it. I was listening to you while I was watching it, so I didn't listen to the deep corner work. But if it was me, I would have been sitting there going, bro, can you please calm down? You're gonna blow the engine, please. I'm just asking, please.
Right? Can we get that jab pumping?
Right
can we throw it down and get the jab out there? Right. Let's work the jab out a little bit. Let's throw this guy off a little bit.
Let's not even worry about this next round. Can you just
legitimately, bro, right? Take off the next round.
Yes.
Off, bro. Don't do nothing but throw the jab and move around. Right. Don't even throw the right hand this next round.
Now again, I'm just painting you a Marvel universe from my own experience. Now I'm Ben Davidson. I'm in there. I'm talking to Fabio Wardley. Maybe Fabio Wardley listened to me at the end of the second round, and maybe Fabio starts to try to do it. Then what happens, Clay? He knocked him down again. So now he's even more excited because he's up after 3 rounds. He's up 10-8 on 2 of the rounds. So for me to try to ask him now, I would be spending round 4, round 5, just please don't blow the engine. Please don't blow the engine. And what did he do, Clay? He blew the engine, bro.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
you
bro.
know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, the pistons
So-
blew out that motherfucker and
Yeah, he
everything,
blew
bro.
out the radiator. He overheated
hit
the
nitrous.
engine.
He hit the
Yeah.
nitrous way too early. He was
Right.
was-
So I'm speaking from the Ben Davidson coaching side, right? I'm giving you
Mm.
actual intel on what's going on our heads when we're coaching these guys. And if it was me, and I'm halfway through the fight now, Clay, I'm trying to like cover holes because the ship is sinking, bro. And I know it is.
it's
because
taking water. It's definitely
Yeah.
taking water.
Because my guy busted his load. So I'm trying to like, I'm like, please, man. I mean, at best right now, we have it as a draw because you got the 2-10-8 knockdowns. But I'm just trying to give you a chance to maybe catch your breath so that in the later part, the back three, the championship rounds, we might get a chance to knock this dude out. And that's the one thing Fabio Wardley just couldn't get himself to do. He just kept like, he saw red, bro, like a bull. And he just, no matter how much, he just kept trying and trying. And shout out to Daniel Dubois for sticking to a jab, jab, two. Jab, jab, two.
But yeah, he didn't allow him.
Right?
He didn't allow him to get he didn't allow him to slow the fight down enough for him to become a thinking man in that ring. Right. Fabio had to become experienced all of a sudden. In other words, he had to do things you do when you don't think about them. Right. Like the experience. He didn't have that to fall back on.
And that's what I'm trying to say. So
to think, and he couldn't.
Yeah. So
Daniel was smart enough to be like, no, jab. No, in your face. I'm thinking
exactly.
No, I'm hitting you with his right hand.
Now I want to give the flowers to Don Charles because some people would say that's a little excessive for Dan Charles to be Dan Charles. Other than Fabio Wardley hitting him, Don Charles might have been the other opponent that Daniel Dubois.
There's an argument there to say that Don Charles hit him harder than Fabio did.
Maybe, man, because he was getting slapped a lot, right? But
he looked like a heavy-handed ass Nigerian, bro. Like
right. But I've also seen that before. I don't know. I think I've only done it one time for me as a corner, but I've seen Freddie do it. I've been in the corner where I've seen the coaches will do that. And I think there's a connection between Don Charles and Daniel Dubois that you speak on, where maybe Daniel Dubois is on the spectrum a little bit, or maybe Daniel Dubois is like ADHD, and maybe that's how you get his attention. And maybe that's what Don Charles knows. Like, hey, you're leaving the focus right now. Slap. Look at me. Now go back out there and go do it. So shout out to Don Charles for number one, Clay, keeping the instructions simple. If you listen to his corner work, it's jab, jab, two. Jab, jab, two, then follow up with a hook. He wasn't making it complicated. He was like, just do this one singular thing. And shout out to Don Charles, man. And now what I will say from the person who made a comment earlier, this is going to sound controversial, Clay, but I'm going to say it. I think Daniel Dubois, after this fight, not only is he one of the best UK heavyweights that we've seen, now you got to look historically, he's better than Anthony Joshua, bro, both in resume and in knocking his ass out.
Yes.
So
AJ has to get it back in blood, not only from Daniel Dubois, but just his career needs a resurrection. He's been very irresponsible. It's not about losing the fights, it's how he's losing the fights. When he fought against Daniel Dubois, he was fundamentally poor. Hands too low, head too high, just so many. He digressed in some ways. And once again, another Ben Davidson fighter. And this is where Ben Davidson falls underneath the magnifying glass for the scrutiny. He deserves it. I think he's a young trainer at the end of the day. So we always will respect that and know that he's going to get better. This is experience. But look, at the end of the day, bro, you're playing with real people's lives, real heavyweights who really can get hurt. It is what it is, bro. We got to hold you accountable. Now, I'm going to push back a little bit on the idea of Ben Davidson being in the heat of the moment, kind of having to make these decisions. Ben, that's what you're paid for. Okay? That's your job, bro. I get it. I could only imagine if that makes you feel any better. But I ain't a damn boxing trainer either. Okay? I didn't sign up for it. You signed up for the job. Do the job. It was up to Ben Davidson to rein in Fabio Wardley. to find him the way Don Charles found his way. I'm not saying slap Fabio Wardley, but Don Charles was also confronted with a bit of a conundrum in his corner. He had a fighter named Daniel Dubois who's stubborn, who's easily distracted, who he needed to get focused, but he did the job. The experience not only played out in Fabio Wardley and what he did inside the ring, but dare I say the experience played out in Ben Davidson's lack of experience in those heated moments. Because we can refer back to Anthony Joshua hurting the shit, Daniel Dubois hurting the shit out of Anthony Joshua, and Ben Davidson with the famous roll the dice. Roll the dice? That's what you got. This man's been down 3 times already, and what you got is roll the dice?
Guys, he's referring to the Anthony Joshua
fight, right. So now you've got a track record now of not knowing what to do in those heated moments, in those moments that count, in those moments that you're on the stage. Those are the moments where Fabio Wardley's not on the stage, Anthony Joshua's not on the stage, you're on the stage. And we're seeing your amateur pedigree. We're seeing where you fall short when it comes to that conversation. When Don Charles was on the stage, when the cameras were on him and it was about him, and it was Don Charles time, y'all. It was Don Charles' moment to shine. We saw what he did. He got control of his fighter. He kept his fighter grounded. He kept his fighter disciplined, and he worked through a nightmare for most trainers, which is, how do I bring him back from being knocked down twice inside of the first three rounds? How do I bring him back from being knocked down inside of the first 15 to 20 seconds of the first round? A fighter who I know is more than capable of completely going dark on me, completely wanting out. He has a history of trying to find a way out. How do I make sure that doesn't happen? And not only that, double down and make him dominate. Don Charles showed what cloth he's cut from. Ben Davidson, unfortunately, is building up a pattern. He's building up a brand. Just like Daniel Dubois had to work his way through it and bring back his brand, which, by the way, we're going to talk about that next, because I still think there's a hole there. And because we got to talk about what's next for Daniel Dubois. And I think he's going to be exposed a little bit. Now, we'll talk about it. But that being said, Ben Davidson, we'll be looking forward to see what happens in your next fight. Here comes the next chapter. Let's move the needle in the conversation, Angelo. The next part of the conversation is what's next for Daniel Dubois. Ben Davidson looks like he can't get out of the crosshair of Don Charles and Daniel Dubois, because he has another fighter that may have to go and get the litmus test in Moses Atalma. It's like Ben Davidson can't win for losing, lose for winning. He can't get out the way of this conversation. Here comes Moses Atalma, number 1 on the WBO list. WBO says they want to make him a mandatory. Lord child, bro. Ben Davidson can't get away from Don Charles and Daniel Dubois for nothing. What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I mean, he's also, by the way, he's going to be, now that there's an eliminator between Richard Torres and Frank Sanchez, they've already said, so he's number 1 in the WBO. He already is the mandatory for the WBA, and he's about to be number 1 in the IBF. So where do you run, bro? Like, oh, and he already is number 1 in the WBC. So he's right underneath because the Okole thing happened. So how do you run away from Moses Atalma? The pushback on Ben Davidson, look, man, I can only speak to you from my point of view and my experience as a trainer. And I'm telling you, like, I don't want to be that hard on Ben Davidson, because I've been where he's at. I know, like, if he sucked, no one would want to hire him. And you still got Devin Haney hiring him. All right. So he doesn't suck. Okay. Maybe you're right. Maybe he's managing his moments the way he's managing it. And sorry, you're right. When I was on the stage, I wasn't a bitch about it when people said, man, you lost, blah, blah, blah. Even though y'all are going to forget the fact that I was winning, like, the majority of the time, I was actually winning. My fighter just got caught. But hey, whatever. I guess I'm not that good, I guess. Right? Like, so I get where Ben Davidson's coming from. What I'll tell you is, if it was me, Clay, and I was in Ben Davidson's position, this type of rhetoric talk is going to be over really soon, because you know who I got? I got Moses Atalma. And all people are going to remember about me is I'm the guy that trained Moses Atalma from the beginning all the way until legendary. So say what you want about me now, Claymore.
Right. Well, that's what it's all about, right, Angelo? Like, there's an opportunity here for redemption for sure, to say the least, because to say he has an ace up his sleeve would be an understatement, right? In Moses Atama, to say that he has this card that he hasn't played yet, like, yeah, but I still got this motherfucker, and I doubt you have a card in your deck that can fuck with it. When we talk about Trump card, I'd say he has one, right?
Yep. Pocket aces.
But at the end of the day, at the same time, there is a momentum building on the side of Don Charles and Daniel Dubois when it comes to the conversation of what we think about Ben Davidson. I got a funny feeling that they're not scared to compete with Ben Davidson anymore.
Well, let
they're
me
like,
ask you
bring
this.
on Ben Davidson. Bring him on.
Let me ask you this.
Just to add this to it, right? To say that Daniel Dubois' father was asked, what's next? Do you want Daniel to get back in there with Usyk? And he said, no, we don't need to fight Usyk next. We want Moses Atama. So there's some confidence building up. There's some confidence building up over there with the Dubois family. They like their odds. They like it. Now, don't ask me what I personally feel about how that fight's going to end, because that's a different conversation. But what I am saying is, when you keep beating somebody, you keep winning, you start to like your chances a little bit more every time, right? And that was one more like, we might have Ben's card.
You're saying this becomes a coaching thing. Like, like we can beat the coach.
They're focused on Ben now. They're like, we want to keep fighting Ben's people.
Oh,
we want to keep fighting Ben. You know what I mean? It's different now.
Ooh. Well, no, I was gonna say, and I know you want to do an open panel for a little bit,
right?
For everybody, but I was just gonna ask you the question that I didn't know that Dad straight up said, we want to go get Moses already. I was just gonna ask you straight up, if
what's his father's name again, by the way?
Oh man, what is his dad's name? I'm forgetting. Oh man, I know what he looks like too. He's in
chat. What is Daniel Dubois' father's name? Damn.
Danny? Is it Danny Dubois? No, it's not Danny Dubois.
Oh my God. Somebody, come on. What's his father's name? People in the chat, don't do this to me. Don't leave us hanging, man.
Right. But no, what I was gonna say was that man, I was gonna ask you, based on what you've seen of Daniel Dubois now, and he's been through the ups and downs, but now he's back with Don Charles. The bond is stronger than ever. What if Daniel Dubois were to fight Agit Kabayel next? Who would you pick for a fight like that?
Now, there's another conversation going on here. Hold on a second here. Bear with me. I want to just show this real quick here, because there's another conversation, because we're celebrating him right now. And trust me when I tell you, the way I'm about to respond to that question is going to have people on a roller coaster ride with me. They're going to be like, what in the hell? He just sat here and did all that. Now he's saying that. Yeah, but let's talk. Let's watch this real quick here.
Okay.
Real quick.
Eamon Khan, we'll get you after. Eamon Khan here for seconds. That was Stan by Stan. What a brilliant fight between both men. First of all,
brilliant, absolutely brilliant. He showed what he was made of tonight, and he delivered. That's all I can say.
What were you saying to him in between rounds?
Knock him out.
Stan, before you go, do you want to see him fight Alexander Usyk again?
No, I want to see him fight this giant.
I don't mind fighting, but congratulations.
Moses, what do you think of the fight? Moses, what do you think quickly? Stan, just before you go, do you think the fight should have been started sooner?
I thought so, but they were hoping that he would come back from the dead, weren't they? Because he's good at doing that, isn't he? But he weren't able to do it tonight. We overcome tonight.
What do you make of some?
Yeah.
Hey man, you know what? In the UK,
that laugh will make me want to throw something at him. If I'm the dude he's laughing at like that,
the culture is different, Clay.
I know.
Like
I'm just being honest. His voice said, "That's like, hey, bro, ain't nobody try to hear all that right there. Ain't don't be laughing." But more importantly, and that was just me trolling and having a good time and laughing, because I think I actually
it wasn't you trolling. It was Daniel Dubois' dad trolling.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I love listening to his father speak, bro. I can listen to Daniel Dubois' father speak for an hour and a half. Like, I could watch him do an interview and just speak. He's he has a presence and a character and a swag about him. And if you know his story, you know he's an out of the mud type of person. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's on the street level, built it all the way up, built up his son, built up his daughter. I know they're estranged, but you can't.
I know.
And Caroline Dubois does not exist, not only because obviously what came out of his ball sack, right? But also just the product, you know what I mean? Just who he is as a fighter. He's like the Joe Jackson. You know what I'm saying? That you can be mad at Joe Jackson as much as you want, but don't get it twisted. Ain't no Michael.
So Janet don't exist to Joe Jackson.
Yeah, Janet, you know what I mean? Michael don't exist. You can be mad at Joe all you want. You can say he went too far sometimes. Maybe there was a little too many ass whoopings. I don't know how you feel about it, but don't get it twisted. Ain't no Michael Jackson without Joe Jackson. It just ain't happening. You heard? It takes that kind of a father with that kind of a drive to produce that kind of a product, and you got to acknowledge Daniel Dubois' father on multiple levels when it comes to this conversation, even in the connection of right now. He's so active. Like, he's the one, I promise you, who brought Don Charles back and told Daniel, you're going to listen to him. And Don Charles can slap Daniel only because of Daniel's father.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So he plays a super integral part in it. Go ahead, my bad.
Right. No. I was just gonna say, I thought you were gonna drop the link when you were looking for something. For
I'm actually about to, yeah.
Yeah. So, but no, I mean that was yeah, man. I
there's a link in the chat for anybody who wants to. There's a link in the chat for anybody who wants to hop up, build, share some perspective on some of the topics we talked about today. We still got more to talk about. I want to talk about David Morrell, man. The title of this segment is going to be Fall from Grace. David Morrell, bro, 168-pound phenom at one point in time, young, unproven, but still just we loved to see what he did in the ring at 168. And he was the legitimate kryptonite to David Benavidez. He was the Jaron Boots to Terence Crawford was David Morrell to David Benavidez, right? And it just showed you, until you see somebody really do it, they haven't done it. Would you agree with that, Angelo? Until they really do it, they haven't done it.
They haven't done it.
This is why.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. No. I mean, like, again, everybody was just too high on Morrell, man, and I wasn't. And I wasn't. I was like, man, this guy's talking about Ben Whitaker, bro. Now you made me mad.
Well, I mean, that's the 175 conversation, right? But at 168, he had a lot of people.
He didn't do it.
I know. I thought he was.
Yeah. Well, is it an elephant in the room thing to say that did he not get brought up in the PBC system? And in the PBC system, they tend to hide this, right?
Yes.
So that's what I'm saying is it's like PBC fighters getting exposed all the time, every day, So
he got exposed in the worst way you can get exposed, though, right? Like you want to get exposed by if Caleb would have beat him, knocked him out, it'd been like that's Caleb though. He's got, he's a true light heavyweight. He's been there with Canelo. He beat Joshua Buatsi. He was in the fight of the year. We would have gave so much more grace to David Morrell on the back end of losing to Caleb Smith. Losing to a part-time or full-time school teacher?
Right.
Ouch.
Right. And that's the thing, right? Like, so if I say it, Clay, it makes it seem like, yeah, man, Angelo, he's a Zuffa plant. The fact of the matter is, from Zuffa 1 to Zuffa 6, I'm seeing dudes get tested like a Jacob Ramos, and he loses the first fight to Troy Nash, comes back, gets a draw against a good fighter on his next fight. All I'm going to see from that guy's improvement. And do you want to know how I know that when you put people when they're young battle tested, they get better and better and better? That's how the UFC works. That's how I know. Because you're not going to find out who the best is if you're not letting them fight people in their tier level, instead of pretending like somebody's as good as he is. It's kind of like your point. And again, I don't want to loosely say it this way, but your point about Fabio Wardley is that he was a domestic level guy with world-class power. So he got to a certain point, right? But he got domesticated when he actually saw a former world champion guy. Okay. Right. David Morrell clearly was never a world class. I mean, like, I don't want to mess with it, right? Because did he beat Hot Rod, yeah, he did. Right? Sure. We could.
But competitive fight that was the bro. I know where you're going with this. Keep going though, because you're right.
No. But that's what I'm trying to say is so yes, he did. I don't think he beat Katayev, but it is what it is. Katayev popped. Whatever.
And he clearly didn't beat David Benavidez.
Oh no, he clearly did not. Right? That's like his one claim to fame of I knocked David Benavidez down.
The David Benavidez loss still gave him credibility because he competed with David Benavidez in a way we didn't see people compete with. He was David Benavidez, he was arguably David Benavidez's biggest test.
Right.
At that point, right? He put David Benavidez on his pockets. He hurt Benavidez at one point in the fight. He competed and went to a decision with David Benavidez where he clearly lost, but because he was able to compete with a fighter we gave so much accolades to, so much respect to in David Benavidez, we knew his career was still bright. Like, he's going to come back from this. This experience is going to be way more is going to provide him way more benefits than the loss provided him. And he's going to excel at this point. He needed this David Benavidez fight. But like you said, the Katayev fight showed that he didn't get better.
He's not about
he didn't get better.
Yeah. And again, this isn't me, Clay. I'm not trying to say, hey man, PBC, blah, blah, blah.
He's clean.
I'm just trying to say that if you're being brought up in that system, then you get what you give, I guess, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, when David Morrell comes decorated, he comes with a real deep amateur pedigree. There will always be an argument in my mind about what he could have been because he's not a fraud in how sound he is fundamentally. How I know he's way better than what he did with Zach Shelley. He's better than that.
Right.
What I saw was what happens to a fighter who loses focus on the prize, who doesn't get better, who doesn't train like he did when he was a hungry young bull in Cuba trying to make it out. He's not that guy anymore. He's having too much fun. He's not. That's what happens. You digress. You lose. He wasn't, in my opinion, in the beginning, a hype train. He was sought after and respected by most people in this chat and most people in the boxing space for good reason.
Right.
Somewhere along the path, through the easy matchmaking, he stopped developing because he maybe felt like he didn't need to develop anymore. He thought he was good enough. He drank his own Kool-Aid and he took a lot of bad habits in to a way more competitive division. 175 just isn't 168. You know what I'm saying? Where you were having the size advantages and the leverage and the height and the reach advantages. 175 proved to be a way more even playing field. And what you didn't do to get better at 168, in spite of the competition, came back to haunt you at 175. You know what I mean?
Right. And honestly, because Morrell prior to this was ranked number 5, Clay, in the Ring magazine rankings, now you have to put Zach Shelley in at least at number 10. So you know what Zach Shelley just got? Somebody's going to give him a contract. And if y'all don't go give him a contract, Zuffa's coming for him. Zuffa's going to be like, perfect. Another top 10 Ring magazine guy that we can change his life as a school teacher. This is a great story. School teacher makes good in his life, beats the top 5 best Ring magazine champion at 175.
Big facts. And he has a story too. The school teacher has a little bit of a story too. It turns out his father is a big mover in the UK boxing scene, and there's some legacy there for him. He gets an opportunity to kind of do some things in the UK scene as far as the light heavyweight division is concerned. There's a lot of people who are very optimistic about what he looks like against a lot of fighters in the light heavyweight division. I mean, obviously at the top of the conversation as far as the Bivens, the Benavidez, the David Benavidez is, I don't think you put him there necessarily yet, but you could go for it. But I think, him against a Willie Hutchinson, a Joshua Buatsi, or maybe even a Ben Whitaker is a legitimate option now. Right, because he has some world-class accolades about him now that somebody can exploit and be like, I'm gonna put this guy on my resume. You know what I mean?
I mean, it shouldn't feel like an uncomfortable question, but let me ask you this one. If he beat Zach Chelly, clearly knocked out the number 5 Ring Magazine guy. So at the very least, you got to put him at number 10. At the very least, you move everyone up and you got to sneak Zach Chelly in. Would it be so bad that the first top 10 Ring Magazine guy that Ben Whitaker fights is Zach Chelly, Clay? Would you call that moving Ben Whitaker weak? Or would you say, hey, man, fair is fair? That's the game we play.
I think it's a possibility, but I think there's also a big game plan already in motion for Ben. You know, he's getting ready to be on this undercard with Xander and Boots Ennis. I think Eddie Hearn has a lane for him. So do you stop or derail your plans to go and pick up somebody because it almost acknowledges David Morrell by going to have a common opponent with him, even though that opponent knocked him out. It's almost like I don't even need to do that because I just knocked out my last opponent. Depending on my next performance, I'm going to be even a bigger star now in America. David Morrell's been on a downside trajectory for a minute now. It's almost like the victory isn't even as impactful as people want to think it is, right? It's almost like if you use hindsight, you can argue you saw it coming, right?
Okay.
Like he left, Ronnie Shields leaves him. You know what I'm saying? He ends up with a new trainer. Like a lot of, Ronnie Shields arguably saw the writing on the wall. So it's almost like kicking somebody while they're down right now for Ben Whitaker to go and knock out somebody who just knocked out David Morrell. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like, did you have to kick him? You're kicking David Morrell now. So I don't know if he needs it, if it falls into his lap and it makes sense. And if there's a prize on the other side that makes sense, like let's say we're talking title eliminator or, this victory puts me into a certain conversation, do it. You know what I mean? Off the strength of the strategic move. But outside of that, it just seems like, what do you win for knocking out Zach Chelly? The biggest accolade you'll get from it is you knock out the guy who knocked out David Morrell, who was already on his downward trajectory.
Well, that's kind of the statistical argument is that if you do go in there, which I said he would knock out Zach Chelly probably in 1 or 2 rounds anyways, you would finally be ranked in the top 10. And remember, that was Eddie Hearn's plan in the first place. Eddie Hearn said after this fight at Barclays, Clay, Eddie Hearn said, I'm going to bring him back to Nottingham, and he's going to fight either Buatsi, who's 8, Anthony Yard, who's 4, or Hutchinson, who's like, I think number 7. Well, why fight any of them when you can fight Zach Chelly, who's number 10? Now you're ranked in the top 10. Now you're ranked in the top 10 of Ring Magazine if you beat Zach Chelly. And that's what he was going to do anyways. The only other fight that I could see Eddie saying, well, I'm skipping over my plan of having a Ben Whitaker fight for the world title in 2027 is if he just goes right to Caleb Smith now. And I don't know. I mean, do you think he should go to Caleb Smith after New York?
I think he can do it. Listen, man, I think he can because Caleb is, to me, I always look at Caleb Smith as somebody who has 1 foot out the door, right? And it's like, I'm convinced in Caleb Smith's next loss, he retires, period. I think in his next loss, he retires. If you know you can, go for it. Retire Caleb Smith, pick up a WBO interim title that there's an argument to be made that you'll be elevated sooner rather than later because Dimitri Bivol is he's on his last campaign out the door. He's fighting a couple of fights and he's either going to A, retire or B, move up to cruiserweight. I don't see him campaigning anymore in the light heavyweight division. There's nothing left for him to accomplish except for maybe a David Benavidez fight in a rematch that he owes Artur Beterbiev that nobody would be mad at him if he didn't rematch Artur Beterbiev. You know what I'm saying? So if Ben Whitaker could put himself in a position to pick up that title and get a name like Caleb Smith, which would be a legitimate name on his resume that would speak to him, then yeah, jump on it. Do it. If you know you can win it. Eddie, do you want to risk that? Do you feel like Ben is like that? I know my co-host thinks he is. I'm pretty
I
much
want to know
there as
if our host thinks he is.
I think he beats Caleb Smith. You know what I'm saying? But this is one of those situations where it's on Eddie and Ben. there's a game plan. Ben is a superstar in the making. It's about a lot of money when you talk about Ben Whittaker. It's about the face of UK boxing when you talk about Ben Whittaker. It's big conversations, big boy talk when you talk about Ben Whittaker. So you move him accordingly. Even though you have a lot of confidence in him, once he picks up that from Caleb Smith, there's no more real tune-ups left for him as far as he's going to be expected to be in a certain conversation now. I think he's there, but that's what is on the other side of taking a title from Caleb Smith, right? You beat him, you take that title. It's Joshua Buatsi, it's Najee Lopez, it's David Morrell again if he can earn his name back up in there. It's Kataev, it's maybe Dimitri Bivol, it's maybe a David Benavidez, it's maybe, you know what I'm saying? It's nothing but those conversations. Ain't no more Zach Shelley allowed to be in the conversation no more unless he earns it and becomes a mandatory or, you know what I'm saying, gets up there and earns the fight. So once it's like one of those situations of Pandora box. Once you open the box, ain't no going back. He is who he is at that point. And there's no more, prospect, turning contender, development. No, ain't no development. He's a champion. It's like Fabio. Once Fabio picked up that WBO title, his conversation changed. All that, whether he was ready or he wasn't ready, it ain't had nothing to do with it no more. You're a champion. Now, Agit Kabayel's legitimate. Daniel Dubois is legitimate. legitimate. Alexander Usyk is legitimate. No matter whether people think you're ready for it or not, you became a champion. That's what comes with it. Abdullah Mason, same thing, right? I know you only had one 12-round fight, but you're the WBO champion. Your talk is different. You're going to fight a higher level of competition immediately. Even though you didn't get to gradually move up and the competition didn't go up for you, it seemed like you went from domestic level fighters all the way into a championship fight, won it, and now you're a championship fighter. It doesn't matter. You are here now, and we expect more of you because of it, right?
Right. And I want to address Roger Dad. He says, well, how about Whittaker versus Kataev? So most of you guys probably don't know this, but you could pull it up. They already fought in the amateurs, and every time Ben Whittaker had Kataev's number. It wasn't even a contest. So Eddie Hearn, who half promotes Kataev, because Kataev's out of the same promotional group as Christian Mbili and Osleis Iglesias, I can't see that promoter ever checking off a box saying, yeah, let's have Kataev get his ass whooped into pros by Ben Whittaker. So I can't see that fight, Roger. That
yeah, not right now, but I think eventually they're going to bump into each other because Kataev is one of those guys I believe in the light heavyweight division. He just is I like what I saw with him in Dave Morrell. So I expect those guys to cross lines again. I'm expecting those stories to come out about the amateurs, and you know what I'm saying. I'm expecting that to be part of it.
Look at that! Zip Pacino says I'm gonna have to look that up. Zip. Ben Whittaker is 1-1 against Zach Shelley in the amateurs.
Boom.
I'm gonna have to check out the one that he lost at then.
There it is. Look, Zach Shelley was
domestic
good.
Level. Yeah, domestic level good.
No, he was, but no, I'm saying in that fight, outside of me, he was good in that fight. He managed that fight well. Like it was a competitive fight. Yeah, I don't know him, so I need to see more of him. And I acknowledge that he's a domestic level fighter. I mean, he's a school teacher, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But what I'm saying is, I guess what I'm saying is I'm not shocked that he's won with Ben Whittaker in amateurs, if that makes any sense. He seems like a fighter.
I mean, he did, Zach Shelley, prior to this fight, what I was telling you guys is his best pro fight to date was he was able to take Caleb Simpson out 168 the distance, right? And Caleb Simpson is ranked in the Ring Magazine top 10. But I was like, that's at 168. So David Morrell should pack this dude up. And David Morrell didn't. So now Zach Shelley, with an amateur background, like you said, with the family, just like you said.
Yeah. He has a little bit of a story. I think they're going to try to build around it. I didn't realize it until after he won. The father, they have like a little legacy in the UK, like a little bit of like, there's a lot of people who are rooting for Zach Shelley in the UK who are very happy. Like, yeah, we always knew. Yeah, he had some downtime, but he always deserved this opportunity. And we knew he'd do it on the big stage if you gave him the opportunity. You know what I mean? Like all of us, like, who the fuck are you motherfuckers? We been watching Zach Shelley. Like, really? Okay, calm down. I didn't know. I don't know him, but okay, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like all of a sudden you're looking at a bunch of people screaming for him, and you're looking like, where the fuck did you hit him with the Conor McGregor? Who the fuck are these guys? Like,
right. It's red panty night for everybody.
for Zach Kelly tonight? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You're not his mother or his brother or his sister, or you're like a fan. Like you've been following Zach. Okay, whatever. All right, cool. That's cool. All right. You know what I mean?
So Patrick's asking, Clay, Patrick Hausenfleck, I'm assuming he's in the UK. He's asking what Americans beats Ben.
What American bears Ben?
So he's asking about the American talents that could beat Ben at 175.
Number one, they had better have a fighter who can take one hell of a punch because Ben's delivery is high impact.
Yeah.
I mean, David Benavidez.
Patrick's basically saying Ben Whitaker will pack up everybody.
Right. I know what he's saying. David Benavidez obviously is right there at the top of the list as far as light heavyweights are concerned. That's the name I would say as far as an American light heavyweight, right? That's there. I would like to see him in there with Najee Lopez. You know what I'm saying? I would like to see that fight. I think I edge Ben Whitaker in that fight with Najee Lopez, but it's still, I think, would be a very competitive fight and a fight that I think would not. It's a fight of the year candidate. I think Najee forces Ben Whitaker out of his comfort zone, and I'm a true boxing purist and enthusiast, and I'm going to tell you right now, as excited and as high on the horse as we are for Ben Whitaker, I'm going to tell you right now, me personally as a boxing fan, I'm looking to see Ben Whitaker back in a dark space and see how he deals with it. In other words, what we saw happen with him and Liam Cameron when he was confronted with a real problem, I think Najee could put him back in that space. And I want to see if he looks for a way out or if and I believe he can go either way because I know he's capable, pedigree-wise, of overcoming that, right? But I'm still there where I'm like, okay, he did what he did with Liam Cameron, though. Granted, he's got a knockout, two stoppages since then.
Three
stoppages, since that moment. But he hasn't been confronted with his demons since the Liam Cameron. So I'm interested in his demons being confronted, and I think Najee Lopez could potentially confront him with some demons, where he's back into, you lost that last round, champ, but you're all good. We're going to make some adjustments in this round. Let's see you know what I mean? Like, I want to see you go back and forth with a real gamed opponent who's not there to be part of your legacy as far as losing. Who's there like, no, you're part of my legacy that I plan on beating you because you have a name. It's the Najee Lopez era. I'm not saying it is, but I'm painting the picture.
No, I understand.
Kind of fighters getting in front of each other, right?
Right. No, I understand what you're saying because Ill Will is saying on the chat that Ben's going to have problems with Popeye Rivera on the 27th. I mean, Popeye Rivera did for real beat Body
Cheeks. Is this Van Houter?
Yes.
That I see he says Cheeks.
Yes, that's him.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm positive because I sent it to him.
Okay, cool. Because I'm so paranoid of these damn of a dildo coming across the screen or some shit. Cheeks!
ATP in the building. I had to pull over real quick because I was just driving. I'm like, nope, let me jump on before y'all get off. How is everybody doing? Salute to you, Clay. Salute to you, Angelo. How y'all doing this lovely afternoon?
We're doing great. Hey, real quick here, I just want to tell everybody who you are. This is Demonzion Van Houter's father, and I want you to take a look at the icon on there, right? Because you just saw a towering monster of a human being, put in work. But that, believe it or not, is Demonzion Van Houter in that picture, right? Like, I know when you're looking at it, it's like, who's that? That's the guy who just put the beats on Ralph Murphy on Saturday night.
Machine Gun Murphy.
Yeah. I just got a feeling that Cheeks is we got to ask how you manage it, right? Because he let's be real, he probably whoop your ass if he went crazy.
You crazy as hell, Clay. You crazy as hell. Point blank, period. That's why he don't want to put the gloves on with me during sparring when he needs sparring. So we ain't gonna get into that right now.
Okay.
See, I told you, man. Mr. Van Houter will lay his son out, bro.
This don't need to be said. I hear you, brother. I hear you. That's that daddy talking like never. I'll always find a way, brother. There will always be a way, brother.
Ain't no gloves in street fight.
Exactly. We're gonna be respected out here. We win. We don't take
you have
L.
to feel what MMA feels like.
Exactly. I'll throw a Kamara.
Cheeks, where do you think he got it from, bro? We don't take L's over here. We don't do that.
Nah, I'll throw Kimura on his ass in a heartbeat. You know what I mean?
Early.
But I think he got his fighting quarrels from mom because she's a firecracker. You know what I mean? I'm a bowler. You know what I mean? I did my things in the streets, but I was never really, you know what I mean? I never really fight or into combat sports too much. You know, I ain't like to get sweaty. Not even gonna lie, I like to stay clean. So that's why I did bowling. But mom, you know, karate expert. You know, sensei, all the good stuff. Black belt. You know what I mean? But fighting overall, you know, she's a fighting family from her. But overall, watching MMA, growing up with him. You know what I mean? Like that was his cartoons. You know, Ultimate Fighter season 1, he probably can repeat it word for word. You know what I mean? Back in the day before he lost all his memory from getting, you know what I mean, fighting so much. But that's basically where he got it from. Like that's all he wanted to do. And I got a call from an old friend, you know, that seen the fight. He was like, "Yo, I just remember going to your house, walking up the 3 flights of steps, and Mozzie sitting on the couch watching mixed martial arts." He's like, "I didn't even know what that was back then." He's like, "You got him into it early." Like we was watching it when he was like 4. You know what I mean? Where he was like, "I want to do this." I was like, "Nah, we'll go play football." You know what I mean?
Right.
And then you know, 6, 7, that's when it was like, nah, he wants to do it, so we just put the pedal to the metal. You know what I mean?
For sure, man. I mean, you have a you know, fathers. I think all fathers in one way or another kind of like in a perfect world would like their son to be like a specimen like your son. I'm saying, like, you want to see your son. You never know what he's going to do, but you know, you don't mind him being in, you know, a dominant force in combat sports or a dominant force in the NFL, or, you know, I'm saying something athletic where you just kind of, you don't put the pressure on him to do it. But if you do have one, it's a different level of being proud, right? Where you just like, look at this boy, man. This boy,
most definitely. Because my thing is, you know, a couple of times, you know, back in the day, I was like, "Yo, you ever want to quit boxing?" This is when he was younger. Like, you ever want to quit? I don't care what you do. We're gonna support whatever you want to do. We're gonna be there cheering. You know what I mean? But seeing him now and seeing the accomplishments that he did, knowing where he came from, knowing all the hate he got coming up, you know what I mean? Knowing all the split decisions that he lost just because he wasn't a name around here or whatever. Yeah, I'm very, very proud as a father. Mom's is too, and I know that. You know what I mean? We can't. There's not even enough words to explain how proud you are as a dad, knowing what he came from. You know what I mean? That's why I put that picture up. Like that was him when he was 9. You know what I mean? So he was smaller than that when he started. So like seeing him from that point to now, yeah, he towers over me in that picture. You know what I mean? I'm still 6'4", even though his box record is wrong. But you know what I mean? He a big kid. You know what I mean? So it's like, damn.
Now he's looking at a minimum. He's looking eye to eye with you right now, or looking over you. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely like a. I mean, when I look at that picture too, it's just like, I don't know if I could imagine if I was in your position. I don't know that I imagined him being who he is right now, as far as the size. Like
the size is crazy, because it's like when he goes into his room, he'll come out like 2 days from playing the video game, and he big as shit. That's exactly what happened. You know what I mean? It was just like one day he just came out taller than me. I was like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Then like 2 months later, he come out all thick and shit. I'm like, what are you doing in that room? You know what I mean? No, they're just playing video games. I'm like, now you eating boar or something? Like you eating some wild meat? I'm like,
yeah, you remember that Canelo steak?
I'm telling you. Like
don't do that, man. Zuffa got the drug testing, Clay. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't eat no Canelo meat.
We don't have no carne asada over here. It just
T-bones
and ribeyes.
No, I was gonna say, Clay, can you? I sent you an email with Mozzie's, my friend. So we won't get popped for it because it's from my friend Ken Hathaway. He works for USA Today, but it's his own footage for MMA Roadshow. But it's Mozzie doing the post-fight conference in the media room. So I emailed it to you. He also has the Dana White one. But I was going to ask you, Mr. Van Houter, did you get a chance to see that post-fight interview where he gave that nice little message to mom?
Oh yeah, we seen them all. Like we stalk it. As soon as he leaves, we stalk everything. Like as soon as it goes up, we see it. You know what I mean? So every time he speaks, he's getting so much better speaking. A lot of people might not think so, but knowing what he came from to now, oh my God, it's like he's killing all his interviews. Like we really like that he stays himself. He's not talking too much, like, you know, loud, because he's not a loud kid overall. But like I said, everything he's doing is great with the interviews now.
Yeah.
Check this out, guys. Check this out.
but what a performance, my man. And welcome back over here. What's up?
Thank you. How you doing?
Doing good. But you're doing great. I know there's guys who got power and in the box, got hands, but there's also something to say about somebody that knows how to finish an opponent.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that sequence and how you were able to not just let your hands go, but the right shots to make the referee call that one.
After I hit him with the body shot, I seen he was hurt, but he didn't want to go down. So the way he put his hands, he was just trying to protect his body. He didn't want to get hit there no more. And he backed himself into a corner. And all I seen was a bunch of face. And I was just punching.
Absolutely. So you knew you landed. Did you see that shot when you were studying tape or when you were talking to your team about the game plan?
Studying tape. I ain't studied tape.
You just saw it on the fly, like you just adjusted right there.
Yeah, I just seen it when I was in there.
That's awesome, my man. Good work tonight. When you were talking to Max with that post fight, he talked about the physique and growing into yourself and all that. We can ask you all the questions, but how did you feel tonight? How good was training? How was the camp for this bout?
I felt amazing. This is the best I've felt. The best training camp I've had. No injuries, no complaints, getting bigger. So I felt amazing in there.
That's awesome, man. Give me one of the little things that you've been able to tweak, because being able to eat is huge. But how has the diet been? What do you incorporate now as far as like your cardio, strength and conditioning, maybe even using the PI? Give me some some of your new tricks.
Dieting, I just listened to my coach, Sir John, and that's how I grew. Just listening to him.
That's perfect, man. So it's been key to surround yourself with the right people, I'm assuming.
Yeah, that's the key factor of anybody being good and having a good camp, being around the right people that want you the best for you.
That's awesome, man. Obviously, you don't get paid by the hour, so we got that quick work right now. How soon do you want to get back in here? And because we're about to hit that half point of the year, how many more fights do you want to get in 2026?
I mean, International Fight Week don't sound too bad to be on.
All right.
But early as soon as possible. And we're in May, so we got 7 more months. I'll be cool with three more fights, 2-3 more fights, 4 maybe. But 2 to 3 I'll be cool with for sure.
That's awesome, man. Especially with no injuries, no nothing tonight.
Yeah.
Even after the fight, you're good.
Mm-hmm.
Last for me, we got kind of a big deal tonight, Mother's Day weekend, Zuffa 6. Give a shout out to the moms, man. Any words you want to have for someone that helped was a part of you bringing up?
Mom, I love you. You're amazing. You take care of us. You're great. I love you guys.
Thank you, sir. Congrats on the win.
Thank you.
I want to pause for one moment, right, and just acknowledge, number one, the activity he's willing to have inside of 7 months, which is amazing.
I was laughing.
Right?
Yeah. He was like, I can do 4 more.
I'm like, no, you can't. That's what I was thinking in my head, right? In my head, what he was saying, I'm like, no, you can't.
He can do 4.
Maybe he can, Clay. Maybe he can. I don't know.
I'm just saying my instincts. The first thing that came to my mind was, no, you can't. Go ahead. My bad.
He was like, because we talked about it. I'm like, you can get 4 in. He was like, that's every 6 weeks. He was like, by the end of the year, he was like, they let me. So yeah, he's prepared and ready to go for 4. And the real quick about his diet, what he's talking about, how he listens to his coach. His coach, Sir John, been telling him for months, like, hey, rice, meat, potatoes, meat, 3 times, 4 times a day, and that's it. Mozzie likes his snacks. You know what I mean? He a kid still. So the snacks was really throwing him off because he wouldn't eat as much he's supposed to because he was snacking. You know what I mean?
But still messing with the fruit roll-ups, man.
No more.
That hard.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. He stopped it. That's why he gained the 10 pounds properly. You know what I mean? There's no junk on him. Or he only had 6% body fat too. Last time they measured it. You know what I mean? So overall, he cut all that stuff out as a 21-year-old young man and said, fuck it. You know what I mean? So he literally just eats rice, meat, avocados, guacamole, and that's it. Like literally, that is it. And he'll eat that 4 or 5 times a day now.
Yeah, no
right,
doubt.
Right. Go. I just want to say, Clay, just real quick. So again, guys, if you want to see all of the Zuffa boxing post-fight conference, Dana White's, if you want to use it so you don't get in trouble, this is my friend from the MMA Roadshow, Ken Hathaway. He's super cool about the stuff, but this is actually his footages, and he wants people to see it. So anyway, go ahead, Clay.
Yeah.
Any heavyweights on the roster that you're eyeing, like, I want them next?
Nah, the way I am, anybody. I don't really care. Just give me somebody.
Okay. Are you looking to kind of like knock everybody out? You got the knockout on this one. You got the knockout on your last one. What makes you so special at getting those knockouts?
Special, and I got everything, full package.
Talk your stuff, yeah.
That's just, and guys, he's saying that, right? But that's just the truth, right? That's what I tell people. Like the way Damazian started the boxing thing, I don't know that Cheeks is up here, his father's up here. I don't know that he expected to be heavyweight, right? So he started from a pedigree of a boxer, right? Who's going to competing at 147, 154, or 168, or in those weight classes. He just happened to grow up and get this big. So he's bringing a pedigree to the heavyweight division that I don't think is as organic for the other heavyweights. Like a Alexander Usyk, for example, who you can see brings a pedigree into the division that translates into a way to where most fighters he gets in the ring with can't keep up with that, his athleticism, with his IQ, with his movement, with his combination punching. Damazian brings those intangibles. Am I touching it accurately, Cheeks, or is there more
you are touching it accurately overall? But we knew he was going to be a heavyweight when he was like 150. Back in the day, he went to the dentist when he was 6. Him and his brother. The dentist, like, by their teeth, Mozzie's going to be 6'6", 6'7" by the time he finished growing. And his little brother's going to be 6'8", 6'9". His little brother is 6'7". Like I said, Mozzie's 6'5". So when that dentist told us that back then, and he just never grew, like I said, he wasn't growing. I'm like, yeah, that dentist lied to me. But like I said, when he came and just had the growth spurts, I'm like, oh shit, that dentist was right. But overall, when he went pro, they already knew. They seen my size. They was like, if he eat properly and we put the weight on it right, he's going to end off at a heavyweight. So ever since he first started, they already projected him to be a heavyweight. So they never had him cut weight for any of his fights. Whatever weight he was at when a fight came up, they just made sure it was around the way he was at, just so they didn't have to cut overall. You know what I mean? Just because they knew we was packing on muscle. It didn't matter. So when he first started, he was 154. Then he was 151. Then his next fight, he was like 162. Then 165. Then 168. Then 170. You know what I mean? He just kept gradually growing and getting taller at the same time. So it was like he was putting on weight, but he was still a stick figure. You know what I mean? Because he was getting taller. Now he stopped growing up, and now he's starting to, swell out now. So I think he's going to end off around 6'7", 6'6", 6'7", no lie, 240, 245, and he'll be carrying that weight with no problem. Speed will still be there. Footwork will still be there. Because like you said, his pedigree was a boxer, pure boxer. You can watch. I have old footage on my channel back when his first sparring to right now. So you can go see him sparring Xander at 10. You can go see him sparring Brandon Moore when he was 15. You know what I mean? Like I said, he has a lot of footage on his channels that shows, he really was small. He got footwork. He couldn't move his head. But there's no reason to do all that if you don't have to. You know what I mean? Like if I have a gun and a stick and I can kill you with a stick, I'm not wasting my bullets. Mozzie don't have to waste his
money, right?
And bullets cost money. You know what I mean? Overall, Mr. Angelo said it earlier.
Stick off a tree.
Yeah, who you telling? Mr. Angelo said it best. Mozzie has he has at least 8 gears that he can go to when he really has to go there. I don't think he ever got off of one. Period. You know what I mean? He never even got off of one. So, like I said, there's a lot of excitement left for him to show everybody what he can really do. Like you said, when they find the right competition that can withstand punches from him. But coming from his pops, I'm going to talk my shit. I don't think too many people can withstand 8, 10, 12, 15 punches from him clean. Like if he lands clean that many times, no, they're just not standing it. It's just that simple. Any grown man will get folded if he can hit them 10 times cleanly within the first, first 3 minutes. But if he wants to stretch it out and just work his jab is going to tear him up. You know what I mean? Their face ain't going to look right after 5 rounds if he just want to use his jab. Their eye is going to swell up. Something's going to happen. Like I say, he possesses too much power, and I think he got that from me. But we ain't even going to talk about that. But you know what I mean?
Let's continue. Let go
ahead. Yes, sir.
He's going to let you know, bro. He believes in his son if you ain't figured that out yet.
Nah, that's really it. I'm just special. Nothing else.
Mozzie over here, congratulations on a great performance. I mean, 1 minute and 6 seconds into the first round. Is that how you seen it going tonight?
No, not really. I just seen him not making it to the final bell, but I didn't know how soon it would happen.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure if you knew, but your opponent was 40 years old. Was that something you kind of already expected you were going to maybe walk through him with him being that old? Or were you a little bit nervous, maybe thinking he might have more experience being that much older than you?
I don't ever think I'm gonna walk through anybody. Everybody has a chance, especially at heavyweight. All it takes is one shot.
Mm-hmm.
So I was nervous, but it was just normal jitters.
Okay.
But I wasn't really tripping.
I like that mindset. You obviously talk about you were working on your focusing on your diet and stuff like that. Was that something that you were like focused on for this training camp? You know, getting the weight down and trying to be more explosive or fast. Kind of how you said you felt like you were a bit faster.
Like my main focus for this camp?
Yeah.
No, I was really just working on my signature. How to get that better for this fight.
You're working on your signature,
Yeah.
which is
just my name.
just your name. Oh, your signature, like
Yeah.
you're signing your signature.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. I love that for you. Well, congratulations, champ. Can't wait to see you back in there.
Thank you.
Speaking of that, this you're 21. You're still young. You know, you're growing into your frame and you're growing into this sport as well. This is Zuffa Boxing 6. You've been here twice. Are you hoping to become a face for Zuffa Boxing? And what has it been like since you've been part of this? Have you been starting the discussion with people, informing people what Zuffa Boxing is all about?
Yeah, this is one of the best promotions to be a part of. They take care of you for sure. They make sure you're the priority, and you can ask nothing better.
Have you had a chance to work at the PI, or are you just coming here during fight week? Have you been able to kind of use the facilities, when you're not actually have a fight booked up?
I go there sometimes, but during fight camp, never really, just without fight camp.
Do you think with your skill set and with your size, you could be a face of the heavyweight division for Zuffa? Is that a goal?
I think I am the face already. I just got to keep fighting.
I like that.
Okay, so he just staked his claim right there.
Hold on.
He literally just threw a flag down, right? And basically said, yeah, I am. Like, you know what I mean? No, that's already what it is. I'm the face of Zuffa, which I think holds a lot of weight. Go ahead, Angel.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say. So the guy that's asking, just finish asking that question. That's Ken Hathaway. Again, we want to say thank you for letting us use the footage. It's on the MMA Roadshow. If you guys want to check it out on YouTube. And I've been saying this, as you know, Mr. Van Houter, and we've been talking for a bit. I've been saying this from the beginning, which is why in the beginning of the show I made a claim of statement, and people can hate on it for me. But when you watch it live, Clay. And I hope you get a chance to when Mozzie maybe fights on the East Coast. His punches are George Foreman-like. Now, and all I got to see was the George Foreman version of Mozzie. But I actually believe that there's a Muhammad Ali version of Mozzie that we just haven't gotten a chance to see yet because he's putting everyone away. So I liked how he answered that question when the reporter said, did you know that your opponent is 40? And Mozzie was like, in this division, it really doesn't matter because all it ever takes is one punch. And I think that's going to get lost in the translation of the people who are going to hate on Mozzie because they're just going to say, well, he hasn't fought nobody yet. Well, honestly, neither has Moses Italma up until Dillian White and Jermaine Franklin. So if a Jermaine Franklin or a Dillian White would like to come get Maserati right now, my opinion, Clay, I am confident that the Mazian, seeing it with my own two eyes, could pack those dudes up right now. That's how confident I am in Mozzie seeing it live. But anyway, go ahead.
Congrats on the victory.
Thank you.
Have you had any discussions about when the heavyweight division is going to get their first belt?
No.
Yeah, man. Listen, man. He's poised. He's not rattled easily. He's got that zen and that stoicism about him where he's respectful, but you can see he's not to be played with. And he's standing on what he knows, and he's not trying to sell something that he isn't. That combination of intangibles coming together in one person, you got to be optimistic at a minimum as to what it could be for him. And like I tell you guys all the time, the American heavyweight division needs a face. It needs a boost. And I understand the names that are out there. We're about to see Richard Torres, go for an IBF eliminated with Frank Sanchez in the coming weeks. We're about to, I'm hearing Jared Anderson is supposed to be coming out on a card coming up in the next month or so. There are names out there who are fighting for the spot, but without a doubt, you're not looking at him. How's that saying go? If a tree falls in the forest, did it fall? I always answer, yes, it did. You just didn't hear the tree fall. Ain't no not hearing a tree fall mean the tree ain't fall. Sorry, the tree fell. And I think there's a tree in the forest. I'm saying that, just because you haven't seen him or you're not watching him doesn't mean that he's not low-key the biggest threat in the American heavyweight space right now.
And go ahead, Mr. Van Houter, if you could speak on what you thought of that post fight conference, that'd be great.
Oh, it was great. You know what I mean? Even when he said he worked on his signature, because he actually did work on his signature. You know what I mean? Overall, he really, they come up with a game plan for him, and he just executes the game plan. You know what I mean? He rarely watches footage, unless it's a real big name. And he got a lot of footage out there. Then he'll watch him. But if there's not that much footage, he's not really worried about it. They'll come up with a game plan. He'll see why he's in the ring. You know what I mean? Overall, with the way he speaks on everything, that's just how he is. You know what I mean? He hasn't changed since he was little. He always respects his opponents. You know what I mean? Even his first knockout he ever did, he tried to help the kid up, but the kid didn't want his help up, obviously. But you know what I mean? Like he just comes to fight. You know what I mean? He just really wants to fight. And he just really wants to show people that he is the top out there, and not too many people can mess with him. You know what I mean? And overall, they might as well try to get him now, because when he turns 24, it's a wrap for anybody. And I'm just saying that I can take me being a dad out the picture, just watching him, knowing where I've seen from where he came from. Yeah, by the time he's 24, he's gonna be unstoppable. Point blank, period.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, looking forward to see him do his thing, man. Hey, let me ask you. I mean, you're watching heavyweight boxing. I'm thinking because at the end of the day, anybody can get it. Everybody's a potential opponent.
And Zuffa will make any bouts.
What do you think about the heavyweight fight this weekend and going into the fight with Fabio Wardley and Daniel Dubois? What were you expecting? You know what I mean? Did you pick Daniel? Did you think it was going to be Fabio? What did you think? And what were you expecting going in? And what did you think about the result?
Put it this way: I had Fabio up until their weigh-ins. When I seen Dan, you just kept saying, "I'm ready to fight." I ain't gotta say nothing else. I was like, "Oh, he's locked in." You know what I mean? I'm like, "Yeah, he's locked in." So I actually switched it at the last minute and picked Dubois. But overall, that was a great fight. Not too much boxing, but a damn good fight. You know what I mean? Overall, and not too much skills to me that was displayed by either man. But heart, determination, everything else, grit, that was all on display with no problem. But they better have some better boxing skills if they want to fuck with Mozzie.
Well, that was going to be my next question, right? Like when you're watching fights like that's being crowned fight of the year right now. That's what people are saying, fight of the year. Yeah. And I could see it. I think it's fight of the year.
Yeah,
but knowing that's a heavyweight fight, right? And I'm sure you can't help but like size up everybody. Like as you're watching heavyweight fighters, you're thinking about your son, right?
I size up every last person, and I look at them and I say, if they fight like that against my kid, they're getting their ass whooped. Point blank, period. You know what I mean? And overall, like I said, he can actually box. I'm not seeing these guys box. You know what I mean? So he can pack them both up. Like I said, I don't want Mozzie to ever be in a fight of the year, fight of the night. Nah, that's putting too much damage on your body.
Right. That means I hear you.
Yeah, no, we don't gotta go for that. I wish they had knockout of the night still, but they don't. You know what I mean? But I doubt Mozzie will ever get a fight of the night because we ain't gonna be in there that long with him. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you have to pin that boy to the canvas for him to take that loss. You know what I mean? He has that much heart and grit also, but nah, that's too face got throw the towel in. You know what I mean? Point blank period. You can fight another day. It is what it is. I don't care if you the comeback kid. Throw the towel in I would have threw the towel in after the ninth. You know what I mean? Wardley, his shots ain't have nothing on him after that. He was throwing, and like I said, I wanted Wardley in the beginning. But after seeing his power detained after the, like I said, 6th round and his face starts swelling up more, it's like, come on now. It is what it is. So
get him, give him. It's like Friday, right? You live to fight another day,
another
but not
day,
stay in there for too long.
Exactly. Like Mozzie said, they big dudes. Anything can happen. You know what I mean? You can lean forward and get hit in the back of the head, and it's a wrap for you. You know what I mean? Like we actually met Pritchard Colon when he was champion before his fight. So we met him down here in Florida. You know what I mean? We got pictures of him and Mozzie and everything. And then that happened to him. It's like, nah, that was a nice guy. Like we met him. He was a really cool dude. So that's what Mozzie always thinks about. It's like, nah, one punch can end it. So that's why we try not to take no punches. Nah, that fight of the night shit, that's for the birds. Leave that in the UFC. At least they can go to the ground and take a break. You know what I mean? Somewhat. You know what I mean? But you ain't getting punched in your face for 10 rounds straight or 12 rounds straight.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you 100%, man, when it comes to that topic, man. But guys, it's about that time. You know what I mean? I got to get ready for what I do that pay the bills and feed the family.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me, guys.
No, thank you for coming up here, man, and giving us your time, man. And always feel free. You know, well, I mean, you always can get the link whenever if you feel like coming up here and talking your shit.
Yes, sir.
Feel like putting the world on notice. This is a platform that's always right there for you to put the world on notice on. You know what I mean?
Definitely, most definitely.
I appreciate you, man.
No, continued congratulations, Mr. Van Houter, and we're hoping to see Mozzie fight back either June 28th here back in Vegas or July 12th, International Fight Week, or as Mozzie was asking for, how about both?
Yep. Why not?
Why not? Why not?
Like I said, hell yeah. Like I said, we're gonna make it happen. And y'all know, y'all be the first to know when we find out something.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, thank you, Mr. Van Houter.
Yes, sir. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Yes,
yes, sir. Yes, sir. I appreciate you again, man. Looking forward to getting you back up here.
Yes, sir. Till next time, my guys.
Peace.
So,
and definitely congratulations to Mozzie too. Send out love and our support to Mozzie as well.
Yeah. So the question. Oh, go ahead, Clay. No, I was just reading because there's a couple of questions. So this one's a good one from Donnie 956 because Otto Wallin and Vlad Sarenko are with Zuffa now. So if I'm not mistaken, Donnie, I think Sarenko is the guy who lost to Jermaine Franklin at the Terence Crawford Canelo fight. And I'll tell you right now, man, Mozzie will pack that dude up.
You're talking about that big, tall, giant motherfucker?
Yeah, the tall 6'9", bro. That's gooseneck time. That's gooseneck, bro.
But I'm gonna tell you like that. Those opponents are perfect for Demazian because they've got world-class experience. They've been in those situations.
Even though he lost to Franklin, Clay?
It don't matter. Franklin was just in the ring with Moses Atama. So it's just kind of like where Demazian's at. Those are perfect opponents for him right now in the stage he's in his career. I'm looking forward to keep it simple, Donnie. I'm looking forward to those fights, and I do believe he improves, and I think he dominates in those fights. But I think those fights are impactful for his career. They do something to the resume. They move the needle. They potentially put him in a conversation that he wasn't in before the fight, right? Like, did you see what he did? You know what I mean? Like he starts to share comment out of Valine, especially, right? So you knock out Valine and you dominate him, and all of a sudden they're comparing your knockout to Deontay Wilder's knockout of him. They're comparing, well, not Deontay Wilder, sorry, to Anthony Joshua's. And I was thinking about Robert Helenius. But out of Valine, you start thinking about the Anthony Joshua stoppage. You start to think about how he competed with Tyson Fury. You start to put him in all these conversations on the back end of a victory against an Otto Valine. So, yeah, man, he's right there. He's right there. And he's got the right machine behind him that's going to force the issue. I know it. They eventually will force the issue and put him in front of those guys, man. They'll go grab him legitimately 2 feet to their heavyweight. You know what I mean? Once they see it, they'll be like, we out here looking for the food. Don't worry, you keep doing yours. We grabbing them. And we bringing them over here to feed them to you, literally, so that you can begin to build up the name. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, sorry, Donnie. If he's the guy that Solomon Dakers lost to, and Solomon Dakers was the guy that's supposed to fight Jared Anderson before the fight got canceled this last weekend, then yeah, that Sarenko guy would definitely lose to Mozzie. So I hope he signs. All right, you're saying he signed a Zuffa, so yeah, I hope they make, like Clay's point, I hope they make that fight.
Oh, Solomon Dockery? Okay, because when you
so remember Dockers was supposed to fight Jared Anderson, so Sarenko is the guy who lost to Dockers, right?
Okay.
But Gooseneck guy, he can get it too. The guy who lost to Franklin. Yeah, that's Gooseneck right there. And then Stock Chaser's asking about Joshua Edwards. We know who Joshua Edwards is.
I think Joshua Edwards would be a great addition to Zuffa personally. I don't think that Golden Boy I don't see Golden Boy building up a heavyweight.
Yep.
You know, and forget about how you might think I think about Oscar De La Hoya and nothing like that. There are certain fighters I think do well at Golden Boy that should be at Golden Boy. You know what I'm saying? They're still a premier promotional company, but I don't think Golden Boy has built a heavyweight that I could think of. You know, I don't see it. I think Josh Edwards might be spinning his wheels in some Golden Boy mud right now. He's at a point in his career where he doesn't need to care as much right now. I don't know how many fights he has in the contract, but because he's on a prospect level, it's like fine, as long as they can keep you active, that's a plus. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what's up. But yeah, when it comes down to those signature fights and the opportunities, I think Joshua Edwards is gonna have to make some decisions. I think he would fit into the Zuffa boxing thing perfectly. I think he should get his ass over there as soon as he can. I don't know what his situation looks like. And you guys know if you watch the show, I don't be sitting here doing that. I don't be sitting here saying, no, you should come to Zuffa. I'm very like staying out these fighters' business. But that's a situation where I do feel like I've said it. I think I've said it before that I feel he should come over.
Well, you're feeling about him the same way like what Floyd Schofield put on his Twitter today. Hey, man, did you see that Twitter?
No.
With Schofield? Oh, you didn't see Schofield's Twitter? Oh, he straight up had at Zuffa on that. He's tagging Zuffa, bro.
You know, it's so hilarious because his father talks from a place of like he has the best deal ever. But for the past couple of months, I've been watching him just Schofield Jr., right? And that's why it's so important to allow him to speak, right? To do these interviews. It seems like you guys don't follow him because I do follow him because I think he's an athletic specimen, bro. I think he has a lot of potential. I'm low-key a Floyd Schofield Jr. fan, like in real time. I see his workouts. I see what he's doing in the gym through his Instagram. He is a special athlete, a special fighter. He really is. His father makes it weird at times, but I'm noticing that Schofield Jr. is speaking, sitting down now, having interviews. He had an interview with Southpaw where it was just him. The father popped in real quick in the background one time or twice, but it was like a 45-minute interview, and I didn't see the father at all. I was like, oh shit. You know what I'm saying? So he's starting to branch out into his own identity, his own brand. And yeah, it's so funny just to bring it back and land the plane to say that he's not necessarily on the same time as his dad. He loves his father. And by the way, I've seen the relationship. I like it, how they've been so far. It's getting more balanced. I'm seeing the love. I'm seeing the understanding. He's bringing his brother, Floyd Schofield Jr. brought his little brother on. I see that the father is doing a good job raising two young men. I'm seeing that, giving him his flowers, but still get the hell out from in front of that camera and let that boy do him. It is what it is.
Let the boy do his thing.
Yeah,
I was just gonna add to your Joshua Edwards. So if you guys want to see why Clay's even talking about that, so Jamar Talley, he was in the Olympic team. They let him do Zuffa Boxing 2, I think. And now they're floating Jamal Talley in a ring card for his second fight. He's fighting in Egypt. He's on May 23rd. But that's why Joshua Edwards signed with Zuffa, because Jamar Talley, right? Like, look how they're treating Jamar Talley. If Joshua Edwards, if you want to be treated the same way they're treating Jamar Talley, you might want to come over.
And he's not on a Zuffa card, right? So, I mean, I wanted to go over one more thing. And we're about to get up out of here, right? But I got to do this real quick. Bear with me. I want to talk about this. I've been watching this. Listen, let me just go to it. Let's not beat around the bush, right? I could be long-winded, and what's understood don't need to be said. Let's just have it. Let's have it all. Roy Jones Jr. Brother, my favorite boxer of all time, brought me into boxing in the capacity that I am right now. As far as, I always say this, growing up, I watched boxing with family, uncles, cousins who were older than me. And I wasn't into boxing as much as I had to watch it because I grew up poor, right? I turned the channel with a pair of pliers. I'm old. Y'all don't remember when channels used to be, but I'm talking about back then, right? You had to have a cable box when I grew up to get cable. You know what I'm saying? And order pay-per-view on your cable box. I didn't care about boxing as much as I had to. If you wanted entertainment, we didn't have multiple televisions. I didn't have a television in my room. There was a television in the living room that the family watched. And I had opportunities to watch my TV in certain times of the day to watch cartoons. But for the most part, the adults dominated the TV. And when boxing was on Saturday, we all was watching boxing because that's it. The men ran it. My mom was watching boxing. Whoever was in, we was all just watching boxing, right? But Roy Jones made me a fan of boxing. He was my first fighter who I was starting to watch boxing on my own. Like, oh, Roy Jones is going to fight this weekend? I got to make sure I catch it. I didn't need my family. I was finding a way to see Roy Jones fight. So to tell you I respect this man is an understatement. I don't think I could describe how much what this man means to me in my journey as a boxing fan. He holds a lot of weight, way more than Mike is my guy. I love Mike, but it's Roy. Roy's the guy. Mike was the guy I was watching with my uncles. You feel me? That was the guy. That was who I was watching. And I like Mike too, but Roy was the guy who I was by myself. You know what I mean? When I was in school, you know what I mean? When I was in, going to college, you know what I'm saying? I was in my room watching Roy, but I didn't need to be told to watch Roy. I wanted to watch Roy. But he's been going on a campaign lately. Let's just hear him talk real quick here.
Are you in support of it?
First of all,
shout out to Fight Hub TV.
First of all, if you made the Muhammad Ali Act to save or to look out for the boxers, why would you go change it for a promoter? You basically change it back, saying, okay, we put these security bars on the building so no one can break in. But since he lives in the neighborhood now, we know he like to break in stores. We'll give him the key to exchange it so he can get in. Come on, bro, really? And then, like I said, for me.
All right, I want to comment on this part right here. We got to speak some truth here. The Ali Act, as the Ali Act is, remains intact as it is. I don't know if that goes over your head. I just want, I don't know, Angelo can help me maybe add to it. What's within the Ali Act is and will remain what it is. They're adding something to it that allows a promoter to get out of from underneath the thumb of sanctioning bodies. I just want that to be understood. This is about freedom to operate outside of the sanctioning bodies who Roy Jones Jr., Andre Ward have publicly, and I don't make me go into the video because I can go into the video, right? Hold on a second here. This thing is doing something here. Let me just remove this. Boom. Okay. All right, cool. All right. So Roy Jones Jr. and Andre Ward have spoken on how corrupt the sanctioning bodies are. They have a podcast together. Literally, I can pull up the interview here where Virgil Ortiz's representation is talking about the corruption and literally tells Roy Jones maybe he should start a union up to protect the fighters from the corruption. Literally, Roy's like, yeah, I would love to do that, man. I've been one of those guys. Just hard to get these fighters together, blah, 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 blah. Andre Ward. No, this wasn't, I'm sorry, Shakur Stevenson's lawyer. This is Shakur Stevenson. This is on the back end of Shakur being stripped by the WBC. And they had him all on there. So he's spoken to the corruption in boxing, right? So what Zuffa is doing with the Muhammad Ali Revival Act isn't about the fighters as much. It is a little bit, but it isn't as much as it is making it to where we can move around the sanctioning bodies, because the sanctioning bodies have notoriously been corrupt and they don't want to work underneath sanctioning bodies. They don't want to have to involve sanctioning bodies in fights. Now, it doesn't mean that they never will work with sanctioning bodies, as you can tell if you're watching the way things are progressing, but they want the ability to operate a league that is no longer underneath the thumbnail of the rules of the sanctioning bodies, which is mainly surrounded around popularity and unfair treatment and rolling Williams had paid into a title fight off of a title he just lost on, that he tried to fight, that he took a loss, or throwing Ryan Garcia inside of a title fight and having him leapfrog multiple fighters in the division, or suppressing a Rohan Polanco who's probably earned at least an eliminator fight at this point but can't get one, or all the stories that I can go down the list of just preferential treatment based off of a fighter's star power and the amount of money he can bring in. Because as long as the sanctioned bodies has vested interest in your money by collecting a percentage, they obviously have vested interest in being with the highest, biggest purses. And fighters who don't necessarily bring in that kind of revenue because they're not that popular, fall victim to a system like that that gives sanctioning bodies vested interest in moving in an unethical way, right? So we have to be clear about what that is. And Roy Jones Jr. is very aware of this, right? So there's a little bit of hypocrisy in his point and stance right now because he keeps on, and people who argue against what Zuffa is doing with the Ali Revival Act keep on harking in on the fighters being protected. And they keep on painting this picture that they're trying to take that away. And that is factually just not true. That I challenge him and the people who think like him to provide the proof that makes that true. You guys won't ever do that. You guys will speculate yourself into a fucking, into a word salad, but you'll never bring the proof. You'll just say, look what happened in the UFC. Look what happened here. But you won't show tangible proof that shows that the changes they're making is doing that. It's adding an option, period. Freedom of the free market. The fighter can choose to be in whatever situations they want. They can go back and forth. They can be here, not like it, and go back to there. They can be there, not like what's going over there, and go over here. It's up to them.
Right. Now, the only thing I was going to say, and you said it perfectly, Clay, which is, again, when you've spoken to me before about the people are confused. People are confused, Angelo. You know who's confusing them? Roy Jones Jr., bro.
Yep.
Like that.
That's
Who's confusing them. Oscar Loy is confusing them. Dana and Nick Khan is clear as day.
Right.
When it comes to you,
Let me hit play, bro. Let me hit play because I don't want to stay too long, and I see people in the chat because you guys might think this whole thing is not going to play out. That I'm just going to try to take a piece of it. I promise you, I'm not going to. That's not what this is about. But I wanted to address that part right now. The tonality and the lack of information and the lack of research and just the freedom to speak the way he is. It's reckless, and I think it's kind of irresponsible. Here we go.
I mean, the best thing is that if it was that good, all the ex-UFC fighters would be talking about it. And they would be saying good things about it. They don't.
Okay. That's another perversion of the truth.
Hey, wait. Can I go first real quick? I'll let you go. So Alex Pereira just signed an 8-fight extension. Charles Oliveira just signed his 8-fight extension. And me and Claymore Masvidal chose to go back to the UFC rather than taking a free agency to Netflix. And me and Claymore just called a fight in where a 39-year-old King Green just fought a 39-year-old Jeremy Stevens on the main card, and they both seem pretty happy with their pay. Go ahead, Clay.
Right, and I was just going to say that, yes, there are fighters who are complaining, but there's way more fighters who are super excited and happy about the way their situation is. And to not acknowledge that and turn that into, it just shows that you're not watching because there's way more fighters celebrating the UFC, saying that this is the biggest platform, the best, over the fighters that are complaining. It's just not true. And the fighters who are complaining have not tried to leave the UFC. So they're complaining, but not enough to actually fight for their freedom and be like, I want out of here and go somewhere else. You're just being either disingenuous or you're speaking without being informed. And I know Roy Jones Jr. to be somebody who I've seen stay out of conversations he doesn't have information on. I've seen him confronted with certain scenarios and be like, I'm not speaking on that. I don't know about it. Why are you so freely speaking on this? Your information is absolutely, and I can prove it to you. I would never want to get in an argument with the legend. I got too much respect for you, but I promise you, I will show you you're wrong. Not easily, by the way. But I don't think that's what you want. I think you'd rather be able to push this narrative, and you probably try to shut me down and tell me I never fought professionally. I don't know what it takes. You jump into my pedigree as far as what I've done in boxing, and you'd be right to do to say that, but it doesn't make what you're saying true. But let's go.
So if you didn't do good by your own people, what made me think you'll do good by mine? Now, yeah, you come in and giving a few of them a bigger bag than they used to getting, spoiling a few of them because you try to win your way in. But we already know what the final outcome is. Look at most of the fighters that return.
Well, we don't know what the final outcome is, period, because it hasn't been done. On top of that, I would love to ask Roy Jones, how great has his relationships been with the promoters that have promoted his fights? Is he telling me that they don't have the history? Does Don King not have the history? Is he not still old as hell actively promoting fighters right now? So no matter what he's done hasn't added up to get Don King out of boxing. Right now, Oscar De La Hoya is in court with a fighter who's trying their best to get from underneath his thumb. There's still other fighters signing. I don't hear you campaigning about get Oscar De La Hoya out of boxing. Bob Arum has been sued by Terence Crawford, a fighter who celebrate, who claims that there was unethical business done behind him. Nobody's screaming, get Bob Arum out of boxing, right? So painting the picture that this history of Dana White is so profound, like, for example, Victor Conte, right? Who I would say, okay, fine. He has a record of doing these things with performance enhancement drugs. You could use that, right? This man is no criminal. He's a man who's done business. Some of it may have been bad. This is a negotiation business. This is about you're worth what you negotiate. But you're turning it into a criminal indictment that makes it to where everything he's doing good isn't worth the bigger picture. So when you're talking to a Jalil Hackett, a Damazian Van Houder, a Julian Rodriguez, when you're talking to all these fighters who are over there, Shane Mosley Jr., you're telling them to stay in a present situation, which is taking advantage of them and not allow them to excel, and leave it alone, because where they're going to, it's better for you to stay broke than go over there and make money and protect yourself as you're moving through it. I think it's kind of, once again, hypocrisy. Shout out to Roy Jones. Hypocrisy.
For UFC, even the ones that come to boxing to make their real payday. They build up a name in UFC, but they couldn't make a payday there. So you want me to bring that same mode to boxing? Why would I do that? So I can't accept it. I'm sorry. I'm not the guy that says, oh, you. I'm not going to say all that. But I can't accept that. My sport gives better payout to your people than your sport did. Then why would I want you to change my sport?
So 95+% of boxers do not make more money than 95+% of UFC fighters. That's a fact. Now, that top to 3 to 5% undoubtedly brings in the bigger paydays. No doubt about it. Gervonta Tank Davis is making way more money than, let's say, a champion in the UFC, right? These fighters, these big stars, historically have made more money. Because I'm saying historically at the UFC because at Zuffa, they're negotiating with Bam Rodriguez. They're negotiating with Jayo Pataya. They're negotiating with Shakur Stevenson. They're negotiating with Devin Haney. Just negotiated, rumor has it, $15 million with Conor Benn. Being able to and not doing it, there's a thin line in between there, right? But clearly, there's a path to the biggest paydays with Zuffa Boxing right now. Who's signing Shakur Stevenson? Who's giving the offer to Shakur Stevenson that makes it make sense? Who's giving the offer to Jayo Pataya to make it make sense? Who's giving the offers of Richardson Hitchens and Devin Haney? They can't factually right now can't afford to pay Devin what Zuffa's paying. The biggest paydays, sir, isn't coming from the boxing space exclusively. They're coming from Zuffa Boxing, a branch of what you're connecting to with the UFC. So what are you talking about when you sit here and you deliver this message? Let's continue.
It just don't make sense. That's just the common part of it.
Are you a bit surprised by how much people aren't talking about it in the boxing space? It's almost like they're afraid to say out.
In boxing, people are always afraid to piss people off with money. So if they think people got money, they're afraid to piss them off, or they're afraid that people may be able to do something for them when it was never happens. But if you look at it, it's most of the stuff that goes on now. Nobody ever said the truth about people that make money. You know what I mean? So they don't want to challenge the money because they feel like they can't win the fight. I don't give a damn who you are. I'm going to tell you the truth about it.
Interesting that I would ask, where has the uproar been? Where has the leadership been? Where has the outspokenness been to the countless years of corruption going on in boxing? Where is it? You've been talking on these shows. You've never said take down Top Rank, take down PBC, take down Golden Boy. They've all had their equal amount and equal share of corruption. These sanctioning bodies, where was it at? Where is this? Where is? That's why I believe Shakur Stevenson's lawyer kind of confronted Roy Jones, and I can go there, but I got stuff to do. and show you where he kind of confronted Roy, right? When Roy was confronted on the way the WBC handled Shakur Stevenson, and he was like, well, why don't you have a big voice? Why don't you coordinate something to protect these fighters from stuff like this? And he said, oh, yeah, I mean, I would definitely do that. I've always wanted to do something like that, but it's hard to get these fighters. Yeah. So you stayed silent and you became part of the system, the establishment, and you've promoted boxing the way everybody else does. Why? Because why argue with the money, right? Like you're accusing people of not having the heart to do against Zuffa boxing. I actually think it's pretty easy for you to do what you're doing as a fighter who's retired, who has no more stake in the game, who's not active as a fighter. And, you know, I don't know what you got going on, but I doubt you doing this speech right here really affects your bottom line like that. I wonder if it would have been the same if this had been Roy Jones, a unified champion in boxing.
It does look as though the Ali Act reform is going to pass.
It probably is, but it's gonna ruin boxing though. So that's without a question. It's gonna ruin boxing totally.
Does it make you worry about monopolizing the sport 5-10 years down the road?
It does in a sense, but you know they're not gonna monopolize it in this country. There's the rest of the world out there you still gonna work here. So for me, I don't buy it. I hate it for the people in this country because they're gonna be monopolized. They're gonna be basically slaves. They're gonna be own shit. You don't get to decide what you wear no more. You don't get to decide who you are no more. You have no identity. You understand me? You understand me? You just basically you a sheep that does what your master says to, and that's wrong. But if y'all what they want, so good. I'm through boxing, thank God. Because if it was me, I'd have moved out of the country. If they changed on me, I would have moved out of the country when I was fighting. I would never have fought in the United States again because that's how bad that is. But people don't understand how bad it is.
And most people don't usually know what it is they're changing until it's been changed and they're not pleased with how.
Yeah, the problem is the Muhammad Ali Act allows you to know everything that came in, every penny, every dollar. You understand me? Now they're trying to change to where you can know what the fighters were paid, but you can't know how much they made on the whole event. They're going to hide that. So they made $500 million, and you was the main event. Well, ain't you entitled to some of that? But they're going now, because they're going to change the reform, you can't see that no more. So you won't be able to see what they made on the whole event no more. You're not going to be able to see what they paid you and your guy. That's not right, because now you don't know how much.
All right. So, Angela, go ahead. Take this part. I'm going to let you get more into the technical breakdown of this part.
No, I'm just saying that, I mean, it's a ridiculous statement that the original Muhammad Ali Act was somehow helping everybody. Every single fighter, Clay, got whatever he's saying, 90%, 80%. First of all, you know, like how many of them even really asked to look at it? Secondly, I don't even want to get into the whole PBC part of it, of it all. I'm just going to let that lawsuit play itself out. But yeah, what Roy's trying to say that if this Muhammad Ali Revival Act comes in, and let's say the Zuffa boxing group made $500 million, aren't you as a fighter deserving of a piece of it? And what did we hear Jaleel Hackett say? Jaleel Hackett said, if 3 apples makes me full, and I'm happy with that, then I'm worried about what makes me full. You need to worry about what makes you full. And if the fighters are full, bro, then what's the problem, Roy?
Well, on top of that, I would love to ask Jaleel Hackett, out of all the fights he's been in, when has he had an opportunity to look at all the money that came in and came out of the event? And I have a feeling that we might hear him say never. And I think that works for like the top shelf guy, the Javante, the Shakur, maybe that works for them. But most people ain't taking advantage of that. Most promoters have figured out how to work around that, hide things. They're not that transparent. I heard Sergio Mora speak on this specifically when this came up last year. And he said that Ali Act shit is just on paper. Promoters have been found a way to work around that. But that being said, at the same time, that the Ali Act stays intact. That's still there. If you come to compete in the Zuffa League, yes, you're right. They're probably not getting that transparency. But if you're in the league, more than likely, you've been getting fucked over already. You've already not seen that stuff. You haven't seen the benefits of the Ali Act. You can always go back and operate in the traditional space and operate under the Ali Act on these big shows and go to get these big bags. But once again, Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson, Jai Opataya, Connor Ben, these guys could have stayed. Berlanga, they could have stayed and operated under that system. They're finding more advantage for themselves over here. So Zuffa is not for everybody, but there's options are better because options give you leverage. Leverage gives you power. Options give you recourse. Without options, you don't have recourse, which limits your power. Your ability to say, I don't have to do this, I can do that, puts the pressure on the person who's offering whatever they're offering you to compete. And when people are forced to compete, the product automatically gets better. The service automatically becomes better. More restaurants, better options, better food, more competition. One restaurant on your corner, you eat what I give you. I don't even have to say please and thank you or give you any customer service, because what are you going to do? Not eat? More restaurants makes that motherfucker owner change the host.
Right.
I don't like the way you're talking about customers, bro. You're going to make them not come back here no more.
Right.
More
And the
options
other
makes the chef go, let me add to this, because if I don't make this better, people won't come here and eat no more. There is no world where making Zuffa not come in and compete helps boxers when they're forced to operate under sanctioning bodies who have the freedom to do whatever they want to do with their belts. Strip you, make their champion, take Ryan Garcia off of a loss, throw him right into a title fight with Mario Barrios and make him a champion. He's a big payday for them. You don't think that's a coincidence? Protect Canelo Alvarez and make his championship belt a trophy belt now that he doesn't have to defend. You take William Zepeda because he has a Mexican fan base, even though he just lost against Shakur Stevenson for that same belt. You roll him right into another title defense, and you jump over Javier Herrera, who doesn't have the following. These consistent inconsistencies in fair and equal treatment make the present space not fertile for a young fighter like a Damazian Van Houten to make a name. You're going to force him to go and slap somebody or show up to a press conference and make a mess or become a clown out here because he's going to get thirsty. The present system creates Teofimo Lopez, right? It creates him because he don't know what else to do, because he's done everything he can inside the ring, but it ain't enough. So now maybe I should call some black people some monkeys, offer them some bananas. Maybe I should stir it up and piss some people off, because my actual accomplishments inside the ring isn't enough to get me what I would say I earned. So that's how diabolical is becoming a traditional space. So Zuffa is not only, shout out to Bam Rodriguez, who's getting money because of Zuffa, because of their ability to offer people things. You don't got to go to Zuffa, but their presence stirs the pot. And when you stir the pot, that's when an Oscar De La Hoya gets nervous, because he's grown lazy and used to people not having options. He's grown used to that. So he treats a Virgil Ortiz like shit. He tries to play with the Canelo Alvarez. He tries to do all these different things because he doesn't expect fighters to get intelligent. I remember watching Oscar De La Hoya saying literally, fighters should not want to know all this. I could pull it up. Should not want to know that this is that you have a certain amount of time in your career and all you should be focused on is boxing. Just fight who we tell you to fight, because listen to the bullshit coming out of his mouth. Last year or the year before, I can pull it up and find it. So no. You're painting a picture that's kind of like, I can get with the passion behind what you're saying, because why would a fighter want to go through that? But it's disingenuous to put that jacket on Zuffa. It is. It's just disingenuous in comparison to who you could legitimately put the jacket on based on what they've already doing in your sport, but you're not doing that.
That event that you participated in, that you might have been the main event in, you don't know how much money you brought in, so you can't know how much you're gonna ask for next time. That's what they're basically doing, and that's stupid. And people not paying attention and not realizing. So people sign up for it, don't even understand what they sign up for. That's normal in boxing. That's why he did. He realized that was a kink, because they don't pay attention to themselves, what they're doing, and they'll go for anything. That's what happened.
And I want to explain to you, when he just referred to that's what happens in boxing, I'm glad that was some honesty from him, right? Because everything you're describing is what you've seen happen in your sport. You don't know what goes on in UFC because you don't watch it. You see a story here and a story there, but the reality is the experience he's talking about is based off what's happened in boxing. When he says fighters are stupid, he's talking about boxers. When he's talking about fighters don't know what's going on, he's talking about boxers. When he's talking about fighters getting fucked over, he's talking about boxers. Don't get it twisted, ladies and gentlemen. He's projecting, but he's talking about his sport. Listen,
Point, obviously boxers coming up in the ranks, the one thing they had looked forward to the most is to be able to have a shot at a world title. Seeing that they
He's about
want
to go
to
crazy
sort of
diabolical
abolish
here.
the sanctioning bodies, what are your thoughts on that?
You said a world title. That means that there was more than one. There was more options because if you came along in the alley days of heavyweight, you wouldn't win no world title unless there was more than one. About so many guys that probably should have been heavyweight champ were not heavyweight champ because the alley was there. So, I mean, if they have one title, and then the worst part about this now, they got one title and they dictate who fights for that title. So if you piss them off, you'll never get a title shot. So some of the best fighters in the world now, if they stand up for themselves and want to be themselves, they're not going to get a shot because you pissed off the sheep owners. You understand me? So
I'm sure Angelo would love to tap in on this one here because literally everybody who's ever talked about the UFC, if they say anything is, you know why the UFC is good? Because the best fight the best. There's never any preferable treatment over this guy is the bigger star and all of that. That's what I mean. Listen, there's things you could complain about the UFC, but literally what he just described there is what the sanctioning bodies do.
Yeah. No,
literally what they do.
Yeah, no, Clay, you pointed it out already. I mean, the only other thing I would have added to what you were saying is what people keep thinking is that somehow Zuffa's going to take every single fighter in the world, and that's not how it works. They have a roster budget limit. So what they're looking for are the very best that want to sign with Zuffa, right? So that means right now it's a little over 100. Let's say the cap off is a 200 people thing, right, Clay? That's what it is. So like, it's just like what you said. You don't have to be here. You can do the other side. That's fine. Where I think it gets messy is UFC is such a powerful group, Clay, that everybody's acting like the UFC is the only place you can go to. Guys, if you really pay attention to MMA, if you don't want to be a part of the UFC, there is PFL, One Championship, LFA. There's so many other ones. But here's the real issue. Everyone, Clay, wants to go to the UFC. So you know what happens? Everyone tries to get in, and the UFC has to continually kick people out to bring in new contender series people
Right,
in.
they're not oversaturated. Hold on one second here. I see Severe in the back. Severe, what's good with you, fam? Hold on one second though.
No problem.
I want to highlight this. He says yes, there is favoritism in the UFC, and then he uses John Jones. Interestingly enough, you would bring up John Jones, who's right now the biggest so-called star in UFC, is in dispute with Dana because of why he tried to get special privilege to get on the White House card, and Dana said you're not bigger than the program. Guys, I'm not here to try to argue with you guys so much, but I just know more than likely when you're making statements like this, you just don't know what you're talking about, right? You're an echo chamber. You're probably not even a UFC fan, right? UFC has proven historically over and over and over again that fighters don't get privilege like that. Now, look, I don't want to get it twisted, right? Conor McGregor was a big star, so of course he got paid like a big star. By the way, John Jones did too as well. All these fighters get paid according. When you get to that big of a picture, there is a negotiation. Clearly, John Jones has made millions of dollars with the UFC. So has Conor McGregor. So clearly, when you get to that top, there's a certain amount of transparency that comes with that privilege that the lower tier fighters probably aren't going to benefit from, just like the Ali Act, which benefits that top 3 to 5% who take advantage of it, who have the money and the lawyers and everything to properly look into stuff like that. Most of those fighters are not looking and operating behind that Ali Act. They have the freedom to do it, but they don't have the resources as well to take advantage of that situation, right? But you bring up John Jones, I think that's hilarious because right now, John Jones is dealing with Dana White humbling him and letting him know he's not bigger than the program. So it's just interesting that you bring that up. I'm just being honest with you, Rod, respectfully, King. I know you love boxing. I hope I don't want to get into it with you on a personal level, but I'm just using a literal, real example in real time. I don't know that you have one to throw back at me. Go ahead.
Right. Well, I was just going to add, and we have the Severe Raider. Please check out his YouTube. It's a really cool YouTube if you love football and Raider Nation. But I was just going to say, Clay, what you didn't add is currently right now, John Jones is actually working with the UFC because he manages Gable Stevenson, who's one of the biggest UFC sightings to date in the heavyweight division. So if it was all bad, then why would John Jones sign Gable Stevenson to the UFC? If it's a trap, then why would John Jones sign Cable Stevenson to the UFC? The other thing too that was missed, Clay, is John Jones got offered $30 million to go fight Tom Aspinall. He said no. So I'm just saying, bro, like it happened.
I mean, it's just, and shout out to Blaze, man. I think he said it the best right here, and that's where I stand as well. I'm not defending Zuffa or Dana White, right? I'm defending the opportunity that fighters have. I don't see what Roy's doing here that's benefiting the fighters over there. And I've never seen you present a solution that's better than the opportunities they're getting. When you hear Robert Garcia, you must be closing your ears. You clearly don't care enough about the fighters, right? When you hear Robert Garcia saying, this is the biggest opportunity I could have given any of my fighters in my gym. I have so many fighters who don't have no phone calls coming in, who have no activity. And when they do get activity, they're getting breadcrumbs. I cannot turn away from this. There is a scrutiny and an eye of, you should want to look at Zuffa and scrutinize and make sure they're doing what they're supposed to do. But to be absolute on something that, unfortunately, as you're talking, we can clearly see you don't know what you're talking about when it comes to the business practices over there. You're just echo chambering. You're not being fair and honest about the fact that there's a whole lot more fighters happy with their UFC experience versus the ones who are complaining. It's just not even a comparison. And in the boxing space, the reason why Turkey Al-Sheikh is able to flourish and be successful, the reason why Zuffa Boxing is coming into the space and getting so much support from different people is because of the glaring hole in the transparency and how they're treating the 95 percentile fighters in comparison to 3 to 5%. That's why they can exist. It's because of the corruption in the sport. You would normally be on the side of acknowledging the corruption, but you've made a choice. And a lot of fans have done the same thing. You've picked sanctioning bodies and promotional companies over fighters. You said you would never do it, but you're doing it because you have made up in your mind a story that taking away an option from a fighter is better for him than allowing him to have as many options as possible. You're on the wrong side of the conversation in comparison to who you've always represented yourself to be. Sharp in the ring, without a doubt. Outside the ring, I don't want to argue with you, champ. What's good with you, Severe?
What's good? What's good?
What's good, brother? Yeah, sir.
Yeah, I think this is it's a double-edged sword. I think a lot of it. So, have you ever heard the saying, "What's the best form of government?" And they say it's a monarchy, as long as you're the monarch. And that kind of what it's like in boxing right now is that the way boxing is right now, if you're one of the top fighters, boxing is good for you. You're making the most money for the most part that you can make. But for all those other people, those lower tier guys, they're not saying that. And that's where, as Zuffa can come in and offer some of these other guys like some guarantees, and they can put, food on the table. They can put a roof over their head. They can do something they weren't or maybe not have been able to do under boxing as it was previously. But what it also does is that, it taps people's earning potential at some level. So, but you at least you'll go in there understanding what you're going to make, but it may cap your earning potential. But the problem with boxing is that we've never seen it organized. These other sports, we've seen it organized, and it's operated under that structure for so long that we're just used to it being under that structure. Think of a guy like LeBron.
Javier, you're chopping up bad, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. People complain they can't really hear you. I don't know if you want to go out and come back in, but they saying that
okay,
they can't hear you. Go out and just come back in.
Okay,
go ahead, man.
Hey, Clay, you want to address that one? Because
yes,
I know you want to address that Al Heyman one, right?
Well, yeah, we'll continue to move on there. It says, okay, if UFC is so good, explain the antitrust suits. UFC is not perfect. UFC is not the end all be all. They're not unapproachable. They're not beyond reproach. Challenging, asking questions, holding them accountable comes with the territory, and you should do that. But make sure you're doing the same thing across the board, because I don't want to make this political. I'm going to say that there's a difference between complaining and doing something. See, the problem with the boxing space is we've allowed them to do whatever they want to do, and we've gotten used to complaining. We haven't been open to solutions. We haven't stood this tall like how Roy is right now with the current boxing space. If you don't have a solution, do not try to convince Jaleel Hackett to not take an opportunity with Zuffa or to cut down his promotional company that he's decided to be with that is going to get him active and his pursuing of being a star. You choose to be silent on so many different things. If somebody comes up to Roy Jones Jr. right now and goes, Gervonta Tank Davis just got into a domestic violence dispute and he's in trouble. You know what Roy's going to do? No comment. I don't know what's going on with that. I don't want to get involved in that. Blah, 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 blah. Because you have daughters. I'm sure you don't want your daughter getting beat on. You could resonate with that and be like, yo, bro, I hope he's not doing that, bro. Because if he is, he ain't shit, bro. I don't believe in men hitting women. You could be honest like you're being here, but you choose not to. Because you don't want to hate on Gervonta's money. You don't want to tear down his brand. Because you don't want to mess with his dollars. So why are you messing with the dollars of so many fighters who are trying to make it and you don't have a solution for them? You're allowing your personal feelings about whatever it is that's driving you to act that way to become what you said you would never become. You're hating on fighters. You're not hating on Dana. Your co-host, Andre Ward, is a commentator on Zuffa Boxing. You're hating on his money. You know what I'm saying? You're choosing to do that rather than be silent like I've seen you do multiple times. I've seen Roy Jones be a man on business to say, I don't speak in other man's business. Why are you speaking on another man's business here that has nothing to do with your money? And you don't even have the facts to back it up. Guys, I'm going to bring you up real quick and then I'm out. I got to go, bro, but I see you in the back and I know I put the link out there. So I'm going to bring Severe Raider back in. Go ahead, Severe. Go ahead, pick up where you left off at. And I'm going to bring in Blaze Pound for Pound in here. So we'll salute Blaze. Go ahead, Severe.
Yeah, my bad. Can't hear me better now?
Nah, you sound bad still. I think you got a bad connection. You sound bad.
Still bad. All right. Yeah, I'm connected to my car. All right. Well, I'll tap in with y'all next time.
All right, brother. I'm sorry about that. I really wanted to hear the rest of that. You were cooking, man.
No problem.
Blaze, what's good with you, fam?
All right, peace, y'all. Is the audio crispy?
Crispy.
All right, cool. I appreciate y'all, man. I appreciate, the platform that y'all put on for boxing. Analysis, logical, not the shock jock shit. You feel me?
Right.
And so, I appreciate Angelo, inviting me up and letting me hit me up when you guys are on the show to come through. But here's how I look at it. And my perspective is just from my educational background, my professional background, like being a paralegal and just, dealing with a lot of law and then like understanding contract law. And it's like at the end of the day, when you're dealing with business, everything's by agreement and everything's negotiable. So it's like when we're dealing with contracts and then you're dealing with boxing, and boxing is international agreements, right? And then we buzz down into different promotional companies, the streaming platforms, and then to the boxers and the promoters and the managers. So it's like the only way you can really identify exploitation is when you see negotiations and you see it systemic because it's so creative. Each contract for each boxer is literally like a fingerprint. The way you negotiate your terms and negotiate how you want things to operate. So it'd be hard when you hear about the act and people aren't informed or they're trying to say boxers or fighters, UFC fighters is getting exploited across the board. That's not accurate. Because as we all know, even inside the UFC, even inside any promotional company, each contract with the particular fighter is negotiable, and then you got different levels. And so what you see with the UFC is you see they're creating like the closed system. They all rocking the Zuffa gloves. They making this competitive. They got something going on that we're even watching right before our eyes because we're watching them do boxing as usual with the status quo, with established names. And then we're also seeing the other track to where they're creating contracts with boxers in which they're using that platform what they got with Paramount Plus with 80 million subscribers to get on these and compete at a high level and rise in the rank and be a legitimate champion and to legitimize their belt. Because that's one thing I would say, what I see what they're doing in UFC, what they're saying they're doing over in Zuffa, as we can see with the fights, is that these fights are competitive and the level of competition is pretty close. And then we seen one belt with Jai Opetaia, who's on people's pound for pound list, to inaugurate a Zuffa belt. Well, I'm interested to see who they inaugurate for these next belts. And this is when the speculation of reigning champions come into play. When you got a Devin Haney, a Shakur, a former champion in T.O., a former champion in Richard Hitchison. When they come over here, they'll legitimize those belts. And then when you compete with them, it's gonna be high level competition. So that's why I like reserve judgment. Everybody speculating is Zuffa bad for boxing? I'm gonna just tell you this. I'm gonna do a little bit more research. I'm definitely gonna do research on the Ali Act and the amendment to the Ali Act and get some history. And I'm gonna drop a video just from my understanding of that, because that's my lane of analyzing law.
Blaze, and that's what the space needs, right? Is
Yeah.
that, right? Is the people who are willing to do the research and speak on it from a point of, here's what I've found out, instead of being an echo chamber, right? And voices like yours, you know, it's important that voices like yours really step up, because in bad or good, whatever you find out, right? Like you might find something bad, it is what it is, but at least it will be an informative take. It won't be repeating what somebody heard in a clapback Thursday, or what somebody heard in a, you know what I'm saying? Repeating something that's not consistent. That's just what it's all about at the end of the day.
And what I would add to that, Clay, is what it would be is when I say something and assert something, I will show the source. You see what I'm saying? So if we read the amendment, we're going to read it verbatim and then give you the link to it, you know, or quote it for you so you can read it for yourself.
You need to do that sooner rather than later, brother. I mean, I've already done it. I've got a whole monologue that I've written about this. I just haven't recorded it or dropped it. I've actually done a lot of research, to be honest with you, but I'm kind of reserving as well, right? Because I don't want to become too preachy. All I'm telling people is research. It's there. You got too much resources in 2026. You got the internet there. There's nothing hidden from you. You don't need to get your take from Oscar De La Hoya, who's making a 2-minute clapback thing where he has it personal. You don't have to get your information from there. You should laugh at that. Be entertained. Oscar, you're
and
a
then
funny
understand,
guy.
but understand, you also got to understand the bias and the interest when you have somebody like De La Hoya talking about these laws.
Right.
He's in the game. He's a big dog in the game. So when the laws change, it changes his business model. You see what I'm saying? So it's like when you're listening to this individual, it's like, hey, man, you got to understand where they're at. And even with Roy Jones Jr., what I put in the chat, let's not forget that Roy Jones Jr. is done promoting. You get what I'm saying? So he's inside of the game. He's got profited and he's negotiated within the system as it is, right? So when he gives his opinion, and even if, like you say, Clay is lazy, he's just not looking into the details of how things is changing, and he's just knocking something that he ain't a part of.
Yeah, no, what I was gonna say, Blaze, is that coming from your background, contract law and all, the sooner I'll send you some other people who have done it so that it can kind of help you fast track it. But you should do a video coming from your background to just explain it to people. But even Eddie Hearn, don't believe everything Eddie Hearn is saying either. Like, question everybody.
He's a promoter. No,
I'm trying to
question
everybody. But I'm going to tell you this, right? Here is Dana White on Sunday night when they asked him, hey, you know, you said that you were going to be promoting the Tyson Fury Anthony Joshua fight. Is there anything you want to say about that? Dana said, you know what? I'm just going to leave that one alone. Well, can you respond to Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn specifically saying that you will absolutely not do it? And in fact, they're even saying that on Tyson Fury's contract, it says that Zuffa Boxing Promotion can't promote this event. And then you know how Dana answered it? Dana answers it like a professional, bro. He looks at the media, smiles at him, and he goes, well, then it must be true then. But you know what that smile is?
That smile is
they're playing chess, man. What I'm trying to tell you is everything's negotiable.
The smile is you don't know what you don't know. And Dana's always been clear to say, I don't speak from I don't know. When I say it, check the track record. Find where I said it and it didn't stick. It's all good. We'll wait. It's a whole different energy coming from that whole entire Zuffa side with Nick Khan and them. Those guys are more paper pushers, and that's what makes the Roy Jones Jr.'s and Oscar De La Hoyas and those guys nervous, because they've been able to use their gift of gab to sell things that aren't necessarily that. this different energy is coming from more of a Blaze pound for pound energy, which is I'm going to shoot a piece of paper across this table. I'm from the documentation beats conversation.
Yeah.
Side of things.
You have
I'm not going to argue with you. I'm going to let you do what you do. I'm confident because I know what I've done. I hope you have crossed your T's and dotted I's and know what you've done too. I know what I'm saying is backed up by this documentation that doesn't care about all that energy you're putting into delivering these passionate rants. Sorry. The documentation will have you get in line or you'll get out the way.
And
that's
Clay,
why we attacked this immediately with the Ali Act. That's why we attacked it immediately with Congress. We didn't get into it with you. We went and filed paperwork. You know what I'm saying? And made it what we wanted it to be.
And I would just point out two more things. Just one real quick with the Ali Act. The Ali Act, it governs U.S. law. And remember, boxing is international. So keep that in mind when they're talking about these things, and Eddie Hearn or whoever has an opinion on this stuff and how they're moving, because it's bigger than just what the U.S. do. But then also, I would just say the sanctioning bodies, right? So you was talking earlier, all you got to do is follow the money. If somebody's making $20,000 for a fight, and in the same division, somebody can make $10 million, and the sanctioning body, they can position which fighter to get action at that belt, we know which one they're going to go to because they take their percentage, right? So if you're looking at the Ali Act and you're looking at these other options, what do you think these other options is going to do with their belts? They're going to have sanctioning fees too. So what I'm looking at is the status quo or the old heads, the alphabet belts have a prestige because of all of the greatest boxers of all time who held those belts. So when I'm looking at Zuffa, I'm peeping what they're doing. I'm thinking just like they did with Jao Patai. I don't think they'll miss on their next belt. Any belt that they inaugurate into Zuffa is going to be with a champ or a former champ from one of those alphabet bodies, because they want to immediately establish legitimacy as this is a legitimate champ that has our belt, even when they knock the sanctioning bodies, because at the end of the day, what are they trying to do? They're trying to create leverage for their belts for even in Zuffa, even if they don't call it a sanctioning fee, it's going to be some type of leverage in type of your contract when you're dealing with Zuffa to compete for that belt. So just keep that in mind, that whatever they create, you're creating other systems for people to create these brands, bro.
I see what you're saying, but I'm going to add one little twist to it and say they're going to make those guys come and fight for those belts. And if those guys lose, they get just as much credit for them losing, competing for that belt, as they do if they won the belt. You understand what I'm saying?
Clay, I want to be clear when I say that. It's not just knocking it, because the UFC, what do we like about the UFC, whether we think the business is scumbag? Hey, man, when you hold that belt, you got to fight the best. If you don't fight the best and get injured, hey, you're going to interim, and they're going to bring an interim up, and you're going to have to come back and fight the number one and number two person, or you're going to have to give that belt up. You see what I'm saying? So if Zuffa puts that together, like I said, so look at the math. They put that together with current and former champs, and they run that model, then every matchup and fight that you see with these belts is going to be legitimate, because you can't be legitimate just like in the UFC with those belts. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, hey, the jury's out. But we also got to keep in mind, too, where Zuffa gets confused with TKO and also their promotions, because they're promoting and doing boxing as usual right now, too. That's why you have a Regis Prograis and a counter bid fight.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? Because they're going to still make the money fights. They're going to see who's most popular. They're going to make the fights. And that's what I was telling Cass with Ryan.
They're operating everywhere. They're not just operating on one aspect. They're operating on multiple different layers and multiple different cylinders. Hold on a second. Mansa Musa says, what chess? Shake my head. Dana is with turkeys making money off of ring fights and Zuffa fights. This is Danny Glazer's weird. You just... Shout out to Mansa Musa, because he's been around for a while. And I know when it comes to this other anything else boxing, he's on point. But I'm telling you, you're just not somebody who we can have a conversation with about this, because you're already predetermined. You're looking into what we're saying, and you're making a decision as to everything we're saying positive for Dana. You feel you're looking for a hole in it. This isn't about Dana, bro. This is about business. This isn't about Dana. It could be anybody. Let's get Dana out the way. Put Nick Khan in the place. You feel me? Because he's probably the bigger threat than Dana, to be honest with you. Dana's just smart enough to get with the machine that's represented the way they do. This is not about Dana White. Stop. You guys are so caught up on these small little things that don't matter. This is about your side of the conversation stepping up the way they do business, because this side of the conversation that's coming into the business is bringing in a more shark mentality in business. And if they can't compete, they're going to get swallowed up. The clapback Thursdays won't cut it. These conversations that Roy's doing won't cut it. The business has to get better in the traditional space. It has to get better and make more sense, or they're going to get swallowed up by whoever comes along, whether it's a Turkey, whether it's a Dana, whether it's a Nick, whether it's a John Smith that we don't know who he is, who just happens to have money. He's going to come into this game, and especially on the back end of that Ali Revival Act, because that's what the problem is. The Ali Revival Act, adding that little part to it, what it's going to do is going to allow for the big businessman to get into boxing without having to pay tribute to the sanctioning body. Because right now, in order for you to get into boxing, if you got money, you have to pay homage to the sanctioning bodies. Dana, Turkey, all these guys got money, but they don't want to operate under the sanctioning bodies because they operate like a mob, like a mafia, like a cartel. They control way too much. Once this door opens up, you're going to see a lot more money pouring into boxing, but they're not going to go through the sanctioning bodies. They're going to do their own leagues, and they're going to work with the sanctioning bodies because they're going to do what the fighters want to a degree. If the fighters want to become unified and undisputed and all, they're going to facilitate that. But they're not going to have the monopoly and the control over it like they did before, to where they could literally threaten you with blackballing you. They can't do that no more when there's competition, because if you don't give it to me here, I'll go get it over there. When Ryan Garcia didn't like what he was doing with Oscar De La Hoya, he tried to go overseas and do something in Japan. Oscar shot that down and tied him down and says, you ain't allowed to do nothing but with me. Options for the fighters give recourse. Recourse gives leverage. Leverage gives power back to the fighters. That's undeniable. That's the way it works. Guys, it is what it is. It's about that time. I got to go. I'm going to have to cut this short. Thank you, Blaze, for coming up here, bro. Until the next one, guys.
Salute.
Like, subscribe to the channel, man. Until the next one, guys. At this point, we out.